Good evening. Kevin Thomas here with you for another season of BC football here in 2024. And, well, it's what happens in early season football. We are in a lightning delay. So even the scrimmage is going to be off to a delayed start here in 2024. But we're excited to be here with you for another season of BC football on WatchBCSports.com. So keep it right here for updates. We'll come back. We're looking to start the pregame show about 7:15 with the Barnes Catering pregame show. So keep checking back with us for updates. We're glad you're with us for another season of BC football as well. But lightning delay, weather blowing through. We hope this is going to be a quick one, and we'll be ready to go with some preseason action for you here on Watch BC Sports and break down what's to
Bowtie
come.
Barbecue has always been a work of
Up next Saturday in Statesboro. So stay right with us. We're in a lightning delay. We'll be back shortly here on Watch BC Sports. Welcome back here to Memorial Stadium in the heart of Savannah, Georgia. Kevin Thomas here with you for another season of BC football. We are built by Islands Ace Hardware here for tonight's preseason scrimmage between the Camden County Wildcats and the Benedictine Cadets. Again, good to have you along here on Watch BC Sports once again for another year of cadet football. No doubt you've read some of the preseason talking, some of the preseason hype around this team. Number 1 toughest schedule in the state of Georgia. Number 3 toughest schedule in the country. New region of death, region of doom, whatever you want to call it. You're going to have to strap it on and show up and play every single night. You couple that with a non-region schedule that would make a lot of folks wet their pants, and that's what you have with BC here in 2024. Joining me once again, and I'm excited to have him back as well, Christian Gokel, the pride of Kell High School, joining us here once again. But Christian, obviously a lot of questions, and we'll cover that a lot here in tonight's scrimmage. Some number changes for folks who may be familiar with some of the guys from last year. But the biggest thing is quarterback is going to be new. You've gone from Holden Gerner at Auburn, Luke Kromenhoek now at Florida State, to a young man in Stephen Cannon that looks the part. Got to see him a little bit last year, 6'4", up around, you told me on our way to the stadium today, up in that 220 range, put on some beef, some muscle, looks the part. Cannon matches the arm strength.
Yeah.
How does he handle being the full-time guy for what they hope is a 15-game slog to a state championship?
You know, I talked to Coach Britt about this a little bit as we were leading up to this season, and I think Benedictine's actually in an interesting situation, Kevin, because typically I'm going to wait for Phil Collins to drop. All right. Typically in high school, when you have a generational kind of quarterback, he plays for 4 years, right? Maybe 3, comes in as a freshman, gets some reps, but as a sophomore, you just can't keep him off the field. Benedictine, this is pretty good. The last 2 quarterbacks, one's at Auburn, one's now at Florida State. So Stephen Cannon has kind of sat and waited. Luke Kromenhoek before him sat and waited till his junior year before he took over at quarterback. So Holden Gerner had to wait until his sophomore year for his daggum older brother to get out of there. So, I mean, it's guy after guy after guy after guy. So Stephen Cannon, a guy who probably been starting out as a freshman for a lot of places, probably as a sophomore for a lot of places, had to sit and wait his turn. But now it is his turn. You mentioned the measurables, Kevin, up in that 6'2" range, well over 200 pounds, has a good body and a heck of an arm. And I kind of call it the gun show a little bit because BC will just have their quarterbacks out there before the game starts, standing on the sideline, just winging the ball back and forth. And it's just to show off the cannons, Kevin. So the past couple of years, we've gotten to see him on the field slinging the rock around a little bit before games, a little bit in games when you had some blowout situations. But I think he's ready for this. I think he's kind of been coming up under this. He's in 8th grade when Holden Gerner's a senior, winning a state championship. He goes into Luke Kromenhoek as a freshman, wins a state championship, and gets to learn from those guys. And if there's anybody ready to take on this schedule, it's him.
And he's got the playmakers around him. Obviously, the guy who kind of stepped up, LaDon Bryant, had a big year. He's now at Northern Illinois. The guy that kind of stepped up alongside Bubba Frazier. Number change for him. Bubba's going to be wearing number 4 now instead of number 12, but this is your money guy, right? This is your big play guy. Yeah. This is your, hey, we need to play. It's probably going to look to get the ball in Bubba Frazier's hands.
Yeah, I asked every single person we had on during the preview series that we did leading up to the season. I asked him the question. You've had the Zaquan Bryans in the past where, hey, offense isn't working, give the football to Zaquan Bryant. Last year, that guy was Bryce Baker. He's at Georgia Southern now. The offense didn't work. It was stalling out. He had a couple of drives where it was clunky. The coaching decision was just give the ball to Bryce Baker. I asked him, like, who's that guy this year? Because Bryce is gone, Zaquan's gone. They're all going to be making plays in college football. Who's that guy this year? Bryce. Every single person to a man. Bubba, excuse me. Every single person to a man. Bubba. And it's the speed is there, Kevin, but a lot of it has to do with who he is as a person, the family that he comes from. They are hard-nosed, hard-working, not going to take any excuses. They want to show up, want to go to work. If anything, Danny Britt said he's kind of had to hold him back a little bit this offseason. Like, hey, dude, take a day off because he's out on the track. He's working out. He's playing football. He's doing something. So he's that guy, and he's got the offer from Georgia now. I'm sure a lot more are going to be coming in as this season goes. But, I mean, for a junior to get that offer, that's saying something right there. So he's that guy, and we're excited to watch him.
So you look at the offense. Bubba Frazier's your playmaker. You know you're going to have some guys out there on the wings that can get some things done. I know, Christian, as a football player, you said, hey, if I'm going to be a new quarterback running the system, I'm familiar with the system, but you're asking me to play a tough schedule. What do I need? I need some dudes.
Yes.
Give me some dudes up front. Well, guess what? BC's got some dudes, and they've got guys who have played a lot of football, D1 guys on the line, a 3-year or a 4-year starter about to be in Ralph Scroggins on the offensive line. You have dudes in front of you that know Coach DePhillip's system. It's just to be a matter of making the reads and trusting those 5 guys in front of you.
Absolutely, and it's guys who have been here for 5 years. And I asked them, and I asked the staff, I was like, hey, when it comes to that, when you have guys who have played a lot of snaps, does it become we're just going to dial in what we do, or does it kind of allow you to kind of open it up a little bit and try some different things? They kind of shook their heads. They just dial in what BC does. They're just going to do it to a lot bigger level, I think, with this offensive line, a lot more consistent level. It's been one of the better units in the state, especially over the past couple of years. They've played some big-time football teams where the thing in the past used to be, hey, how do you stop BC size? If you can have some guys with size and push them around, they're not going to be able to get that push off the line of scrimmage. Now you've got Jacoby Ward on the outside. I mean, it doesn't get a whole lot bigger than that. You're going to see a big football team here today in Camden County, including a tight end that runs about 6'7". But still, they have size on the offensive line. And as you mentioned, Kevin, breaking in a new quarterback, breaking in a new running back, you got some guys on the outside who are going to have to step up. How do you feel a whole lot more confident about that as a coaching staff? Solid line of scrimmage. Everything else kind of falls into place after that.
And again, on the other side of the ball, Christian, we talked last year, deficiencies going into the season. Hey, Danny Britt and Coach Housen said, hey, don't know how we feel about our secondary. Not that they can't play, but they've never been out there together. They haven't been tested a lot. That's not the case here this year. Zach Maxwell coming back at his 3rd year as a starter. Mekhi Williams is a big-time player at safety for you. I'm excited about the back end. The front end, I think we all know what can happen there. On the front end, I think you're going to have some guys sliding around. I think Cam Cody's going to slide down to the inside and kind of play more of that inside a little bit. And then at linebacker, BC, we've gotten used to that linebacker that, hey, he's just going to go out there and put his face in the ball. And I think that guy for BC this year, he's wearing a single digit. It's going to be Larson Little, who came on last year as a freshman, playing more and more in that role. And then, playing next to the all-time leading tackler in BC history, I think learned a lot. And now I think it's his time to be the leader as a sophomore in the interior of that BC defense as well.
Yeah, and maybe didn't play as much as he could have. I mean, he's a football player. The dude can get after it, but you're sitting behind Bryce Baker and, as you mentioned, Wilkes Albert, 2 guys who were studs and who had played since they were freshmen, just absolute dudes. So now he gets a chance, and Danny Britt's talked about him as just he's the football player on the team. He's going to get some touches on the offensive side of the ball, and he's going to be running that inside linebacker spot. So I think it kind of starts with him, and it's an interesting kind of dichotomy there because you have a really good back 4. And so for a lot of high school football teams, you have that strength. You're like, okay, cool, I can get really creative with my front 7. On the flip side of it, you got a edge rusher who's going to Miami, who's going to be able to create some havoc, and 3 or 4 other guys on the inside that are going to be able to get some push there. So do you then just back off and play coverage? It's going to be fun. And so for Danny Britt, Galen House, and that staff, they're going to be able to get creative. You're not going to know what they're pushing for, whether it's just going to be dropping back into a soft coverage, whether they're going to man you up and bring some exotic blitzes. They're going to be able to be creative. The one thing Danny Britt has said about this defense is it's fast. And when you get against some teams that are bigger than you, that's going to allow them to do some creative things to try to slow down those teams that maybe just want to come straight at you.
And again, Christian, as we just continue overarching, you also have a next-year starter in Connor Ferguson, who's had D1 offers to kick. I think another year under his belt, he will continue to get better in the long-range game as well. So he does the punting as well. So I think you're solid in your special teams. Now let's get to what everybody's talked about as we, again, continue along here on the Barnes pregame show, the schedule.
Yeah.
We were talking about it with Jack Holland, the AD, before the game. Like, you have a really good team. Danny Britt talks about this a lot. Hey, We want to test ourselves, and we want to be there ramping up. I mean, if your goal is to win a state championship, and it is, you got to have the ability to play tough teams, and you got to be there.
Yeah.
You got to be there. And when you say be there, well, of course they want to be. No, I'm talking physically. You got to be there at the end because, again, as far as high school football in the state of Georgia goes, I mean, you're lining up against slobber knockers. We were looking at Buford in a couple of weeks. They got guys.
About 12 dudes in the top 100 in the state, yeah.
I mean, Rabun Gap next week got a quarterback that's highly recruited. There is not a week, we talked about Rashawn Trua at New Hampstead. That might be your quote-unquote off week, and that dude dumped 500 yards on the air on you last year. I mean, there is a lot of good teams. There's not a week off, and I think that's going to be not so much the Jimmies and the Joes and the talent that BC has, but that's going to be the coaching aspect for Danny Britt and company, where it's been, hey, we try to save guys, and then when we need them, that's when you see the Mekhi Williams start going 80 snaps on a Friday night. That's when you see Bryce Baker go 80, 90 snaps on a Friday night. I don't know if you can do that for 6-7 weeks straight in this region. So I think that's the tricky part of this schedule.
Yeah, it's you can't get baited in the beginning. And I'm going to say that. And it starts tonight against Camden County. And we're going to talk about the format of this scrimmage in a little bit. But you're playing an excellent football team, a 6A football team, one of the premier programs in the state. Then you go and you mentioned Rabun Gap there in the Irk Russell Classic. Then you go up to Buford to play that game. And you're going to play in Ohio in a huge matchup coming up in a few weeks as well. That's all before you get into a schedule that 4 teams in your region have either won or played for a state championship in the past 2 years.
Yeah, since 2020, 6 state titles.
Yeah. So, I mean, and again, this isn't that Coach Britt is a masochist. He made a lot of the schedule before the regions got flipped. They eliminated 7A and put a lot of teams with that trickle down got dropped here into this region. But you're going to have to manage the front end, and that might mean you're going to – if it was a playoff game, a guy might be staying in for another series, but he's going to get swapped out because you need him. The games that matter, we talk about this all the time. The games that matter aren't at the beginning of the season. You think about the first state champ, not the first, but the most recent run when BC went back-to-back, that first state championship, you lose a game up in Carolina that everybody was super upset about, but Danny Britt talked about, hey, it's a good thing, it motivated our team, and we got it healthy, right? You learn your mistakes. You're going to learn some mistakes against Camden. You're going to learn who you are when you travel up to Buford and you're playing in that Irk Russell Classic the week before that. Manage the front end because the region is what matters. And you just need to be one of the top 4 teams in your region because the season starts in the playoffs. That's where BC wants to be. And as you mentioned, you want to have all your bodies. You want to be healthy. So you're using these first 5-6 weeks to develop your football team, get some guys some snaps, try to win the daggone football games. But your number one objective is to get to region play healthy with your football team intact.
This is the Barnes Catering pregame show, Pit Cook Barbecue since 1975, barnesrestaurant.com. That's where you need to go to place your next catering order. We'll step aside. We will come back here as we get you ready for BC football, built by Islands Ace Hardware. Welcome back here to Memorial Stadium. A lightning delay earlier, but we're seeing bright sunshine on the backside. That's where the wind is blowing from west to east right now, and looking out the backside of the stadium, it is bright sunshine behind there. It has cooled things off a little bit, which is good because August, it gets rather warm. But Christian tonight, BC scrimmaging Camden. Camden's got themselves a new head football coach. He's coming up from the Daytona Beach area. Looks like they're going to run more air raid spread type principles than the traditional wing tee. So this is kind of a shot in the dark if you're Danny Britt and company. And I think I was talking with a coach from Camden last weekend at a preseason event, and he said, look, we just know BC's good as far as like his coaching staff. Right. He's like, that's all we know. They're a good team. They've won state championships, and we're going to go see how we line up against a team like that before we get into the thick of things coming up next week. But before we go any further, kind of let folks know about the format tonight.
Sure.
It is football, but there's going to be some, I think, caveats in there as well.
Yeah, so I'll get the first question out of the way. No, you cannot hit the quarterbacks tonight. So that's the first question I know fans are going to hear about. Quarterbacks will be protected. They'll be able to run a little bit, but it's just going to be a touch once they get past the line of scrimmage or in the backfield to bring the quarterback down. So that kind of element of the game won't be there. We're going to see the starters for the first half and then the first drive of the second half. And then from there, weather permitting, going to play full. There's going to be four full quarters. There we go. So, hey, first game of the season for us, too. But it's going to be a full football game here. Might work the clock a little bit. Refs probably ain't going to stop it. Be a little bit more judicious with that. But going to play a whole football game here. Starters again for the full first half, and then the first drive of the second half. We'll get to see the twos. And then, again, time permitting, weather permitting, they're going to get the JV guys in there. Coach Britt said on the scoreboard, they're not keeping score. But you know, and I know, and you folks at home should know, we'll be keeping score here on the show. But it's competitive stuff, man. People come in just to watch a practice. They want to know who wins.
Absolutely. So we'll get to that coming up in just a moment. Did want to let you know about the format. And also, speaking of formatting type stuff, Christian, we are at home. For folks that are watching, home games again this year, you'll have to listen to us on watchbcsports.com. That is per a request. Not tonight, but that is per a request of the great folks at BC. But on the road, you'll be able to watch those games with us right here on watchbcsports.com. So I didn't want to mention that as well. Also, if you're watching on our YouTube page, chat throughout the game. Let us know where you're dialing in from. And
we got some Camden County folks in the comment section already. I want to say this, Kevin. This is cool. I know it's just a scrimmage, but both of these teams had schools cancel on them for this scrimmage. And you can give a lot of different reasons, and we're not going to say which schools they were, but the basic synopsis was we don't feel like getting beat up in the scrimmage, and we don't want to play you guys. And so it's one of the two premier programs in the state of Georgia. They got on the horn with each other and scheduled this one. This is pretty awesome. There is a lot of Division I, Division II talent on the field tonight. If you're a recruiter and you're in this area, you're not here right now, you're missing out because there's going to be dudes all over the field.
Oh, certainly. And again, Camden County under Jeff Herron won a number of state championships, a lot of region titles as well. And I think Jeff Herron, one of the winningest coaches in the state of Georgia. And you have a young man coming in to Camden from out of Florida. He's getting indoctrinated to Georgia high school football.
Okay, if there's one state that you can there's a few, but Florida isn't a state where you really got to get indoctrinated. They play some daggone good football.
But he walked in and he said, all right, so he goes, I learned about Valdosta and Lowndes real quick and learned about all the teams we got to play in the South Georgia area. So he was like, obviously we got our work cut out for us, but they're confident about what they can do. I think he's won a state championship there in Florida and is obviously looking to keep doing that there at Camden. So good ball game set for you tonight. Again, it is a scrimmage, so don't get too upset either way, Cats fans or BC fans who are watching this here, depending on how it goes. My guess is, Christian, pretty vanilla tonight for both teams because, hey, the real game planning starts next week. Can we run our base stuff? Can we run the things we need to do to be successful? And let's move on.
Well, and you said it there, and I think you said more than you thought you did. Because can we run our vanilla offense? It's not like they're like, hey, we're firing on all cylinders right now, and we're going to save the good stuff. These coaches don't know what they have right now. Right. They've only played against themselves so far, so they don't know that they can come out and run their vanilla. So when you hear a coach say, hey, we're going to run our basic stuff in this scrimmage, it's not necessarily that they're trying to hide all the cool stuff. It's more so that, hey, we don't know that we can run our basic stuff. Yeah. We're going to try to practice that first, and then from there, maybe add some stuff.
We're going to run this 50% of the time. Can we even do that? Is that what we do well as well? So I think we're going to step aside one more time here in the Barnes Catering pregame show. Pit Cook Barbecue there at Barnes since 1975. Place your next catering order right there at barnesrestaurant.com. We're coming right back. We'll have the national anthem getting ready to be played, and then we'll have the kickoff here for preseason game I was going to say number one. We only get one.
Yeah.
But we'll come back and we'll have it for you right here on Watch BC Sports.
The honor, the heritage, the tradition of excellence. The home for Benedictine Cadets football is WatchBCSports.com. All the games, play-by-play, and in-depth analysis. Home of the Danny Britt Show. Be a part of the action as your Benedictine Cadets take the field in their quest for yet another championship. On the official home of the Cadets, WatchBCSports.com. And look for us on Facebook and Instagram.
When it comes to blocking all the obstacles that life throws your way, let Bernard Williams and Auto Owners Insurance help you dodge the hits, analyze the playing field, and run the ball all the way home. We shield you so you can have peace of mind when it comes to auto, home, life, or business insurance. As one of the oldest and most respected independent insurance
Have I prepared enough? There'll be unexpected turns. When things get tough, I need to stick to the game plan. No regrets. I'm ready. Are you? Get ready. Contact Abel's Iron-On Moore & Associates today and see why they are different. Because nobody ever wishes they'd saved less for retirement.
Tradition, honor, a culture of excellence. This is Benedictine Cadets football, built by Helpful Islands Ace Hardware, Savannah's locally owned and operated Ace Hardware. Tonight, your Benedictine Cadets take on Camden County, live from Memorial Stadium in Savannah. Now, here's your hosts, Kevin Thomas and Christian Gokel.
All of those who we hold in our hearts. When we ask the question of our Blessed Virgin Mary, we in victory, pray, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and in the hour of our death. Amen. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
We had the pregame prayer there as we welcome you back here to Memorial Stadium as the captain's getting ready for the coin toss. That looks like Connor Ferguson. And we have two number 6s, one of which is Jack Gannum. And not sure what the other number 6 is for BC. So pregame, we got a little roster confusion already as the Wildcats there were in the white, BC wearing their maroon here at home on what has now turned out to be a beautiful Friday night here in Savannah. That little cell that moved through prior to the game has actually cooled it off a little bit. No rain, just a lot of wind has cooled it off, and we have gotten some good weather here for tonight's scrimmage between BC and Camden. So, Christian Gokel, this is where the journey begins. You want to good to see you. We want to get off to a good start, see what BC has in store here. And
it's okay, Kevin. You can say the guy who just shook our hands almost ripped our arms off. That was the firmest grip I felt in a while.
That was the former quarterback's father.
Them Croman Hawks are built hardy.
He had a Croman Hawk handshake, I will say that. But good to have you along here as we get ready. It looks like BC has won the toss for what that's worth here tonight, and they are going to receive the football. So we'll get to see Stephen Cannon and company right quick here against this Camden County defense, of which we're all kind of interested to see what that's going to look like as well, Christian. So, again, BC going to take the ball first, and I think that's an identity that kind of develops. We've seen with BC over the last couple of years. Are they a kick it first or they take it first? I think when they feel really good about their offense, they'll take it. Right. And when sometimes, hey, let's put the defense out there quickly.
Yeah, and I think, Kevin, it's one of those things, too, where it's who do you have on offense? If you have a quarterback and an offense you feel really comfortable with, Coach Britt's like, give me the daggone football. We want to go score. If you got a really solid defense, we're going to put them out first. I don't think in high school necessarily it matters quite as much who's getting the ball to start the second half as maybe with some of the high-powered college and NFL games. But still, I think you just want to put your best foot forward first. So we'll see which ones the Cadets decided to do.
That'll do it for the Barnes Catering pregame show. Barnes Restaurant, Pit Cook Barbecue since 1975. Place your next catering order at barnesrestaurant.com. And again, we got the road trip next week to Statesboro. Place that catering order, take it on the road up there for the Eric Russell Classic next Saturday. So that'll bring us into our game coverage here. We are built by Islands Ace Hardware on watchbcsports.com. So here come the Cadets, and we'll be ready to go here to get 2024 kind of off to a good start. Christian, as you think around the state, I know a lot has been made about the non-region schedule, but one more time, when you get to the part of the season that Danny Britt says really matters, that region schedule, make no mistake, as tough as it becomes in the state of Georgia, I was talking to a lot of folks, Wayne County might be a pretty good football team. They could go 0-10.
Yeah, it's going to be an incredibly difficult schedule, but it starts tonight where you're kind of learning who you are as a football team for the Cadets, and you get a great opportunity to correct some mistakes against a really good Camden program.
So we have the Cadets getting ready to hop out on the field. I don't know if I didn't get a chance to ask Coach Britt, are we doing live? And Smart back deep, kicking it left to right. It will come down. Bubba Fraser will take it at the 5, and he will get to the 15 and go down at the 17-yard line. That's where BC will start. This is a very quickly here. He will be wearing a white jersey tonight. So I think for Camden, they're wearing that dark blue jersey. So no hitting the quarterback tonight, and they are all wearing different jerseys. So kind of I don't even know if it's two-hand touch or if they get out there. Handed up to over 200 pounds here. Marking out the signals. BC going to go to one of their staples here. That team look, or that flexible look rather, with one wide receiver to get things started.
Kevin, I bet you a hot dog on the way home is a buck sweet.
It will be Stanley Smart at the tail of that cone. And put the man in motion, and it will be Frazier around the right end. And Bubba's going to get shoved out of bounds across the 20. So give him a couple there. And again, we talked about running your base offense selection. That's what it is. Can we get in formation? Can we get lined up and execute?
Buck sleep is one of them. You just want to get the ball in the Bubba Frazier's hand any way you can, and that's a really good way to do it.
And now they got the 5 Williams out at wide receiver up top of the formation. Skinny goes to Sacco here. They'll take the snap. And they'll let him straight in. He'll roll out here to the other side. They'll take it and get the first down. That damn Britt ball. When we say don't hit the quarterback, that's correct. Not what you want to do. And actually, we're going to probably have a recapping of the rules across the way, saying quit hitting the quarterback.
Is that on the Wildcats or is that on Stephen Cannon maybe getting a little crazy? If you're going to lower the shoulder, they got self-defense.
And how hard is that to do for one game a year? Just slow up. And
almost impossible when your coach will tell you to go faster.
Here's Bubba Frazier on the top. 4 off the right side. Number 4, Bubba Frazier. That offensive line got Carlton Hall in there. So your 2 ends, your 2 tackles. Really got a lot of influence. And you got Matt Conner. Ralph Scroggins. Again, guys who play a lot of football for you, but Steve again, I feel pretty good. High snap. This will be Smart coming here to the near side.
Very excited. Over 200 pounds and hardly any body fat on him. Just an athlete that they weren't able to use last year, but now he's eligible. Just had to sit out through the transfer rules, but eligible now, and they are super excited about what he's going to do.
Let's go under center this time. They'll play action. And now Cannon, well, nice move to buy some time. Going to wind it up. Throw it down the sideline. It's going to be Joshua Washington, the junior wide receiver. And right there, you see the arm strength. He threw it from the backside of the 50 down to the 5.
Yeah, I mean, kind of Colton Gerner reminiscent there. He said he's kind of a good mix between Tomahawk and Gerner. And like that, after I looked effortless, he flipped it about 55 yards. Not to say more than that, it fell on the back of the end zone. It's about 65 yards in the air. It's an easy flip.
Camden looks like they're running a version of the 3-4. And here's the set. They look for Easterbrook underneath, and that time just not good blocking on the edge. And it got blown up. It'll be 3rd down and 10 here for BC, their first offensive possession here of the scrimmage. And again, you notice the quarterbacks have a different color jersey. And that will be the same for Camden when they have the football. Seems like BC taking a while to get it played. As you might guess what happened here in the early stages. Now here is the snap for looking on 3rd and 10. Lots of time. And look at everybody on BC going, and so that's 2 hits here in the early going.
On the keeper. There's a flag on the play.
And they're going to throw a flag for hitting the quarterback when you're not supposed to. I think the officials are probably saying, hey, you're not supposed to hit the quarterback. This is where stuff can get chippy, Christian, when the quarterback are under the impression that they're not going to hit. If somebody decides, hey, you're hitting our quarterback, I'm going to stick up for my guy. You know, that's when things go back and forth the way you don't want them to.
It's easier when you're in college. I don't know if they're making these rules, but these kids are 15 to 18 years old. It's really hard to get them to stop.
Then it's down to 15 yards. Coming up for another upper down and 4th down. Also, they want them up for 38 yards.
But I think in his mind, he's also still not thinking I'm not going to get. In that instance, I know you said he kind of maybe delivered a little bit on this side.
Right.
Again, our first look at Camden County as well. And they're 3 down line in front. We can start to see more of the high school. And opening drive of the game. Again, this is going to be Bubba Frazier off the right side.
Number 4, Bubba Frazier on the carry. Goes down to the 26-yard line, and that's another. Off the road down there. 4th down.
Camden County again breaking in.
Number 18, Jonathan Brown is on the tackle for the Wildcat.
As a part, even with the new coaching staff, we're already running the 2-4. And here's the deal. Martin breaks a tackle, makes a cut, and he gets inside the 25 down to the 25. So give them about 2 on the play in the 2nd down and 8.
Yeah, that's
Number 12.
Make that first guy miss, break a tackle in the backfield if he needs to, and he's going to be the
by number 18 for the Wildcat.
And now we have a timeout called by Camden County. We're going to step aside here on Watch BC Sports.
Bowtie Barbecue has always been a work of passion. It takes time, skill, and a blend of perfect temperature, wood, smoke, and meats. We just took it up a notch. Taste the passion. Bowtie Barbecue, 6724 Waters Avenue, Savannah.
You know, Christian, after a day of the hottest sports in town, sometimes you just gotta unwind.
Yeah, Kevin, and the perfect place to do it, Cool Vibes Pizza and Wings.
That's because Cool Vibes offers delicious pizza, wings, sandwiches, and salads, all with a Jamaican Caribbean island twist.
And the atmosphere is 100% kicked back. No worries, man.
Plus, they're the home of the Oxtail Pizza.
Cool Vibes Pizza, 4501 Montgomery Street, Savannah. That's coolvibespizza.com. Cool with a K.
Come on and unwind at Cool Vibes. As we come out of the timeout here at Memorial Stadium, no score, just inside 9 minutes to go. BC putting together a nice little drive here on the opening possession of the ball game. It'll be second down. They moved it to the 23-yard line, so it'll be second down and 7 for the Cadets coming out of this timeout. And again, haven't really seen them go to the passing game a lot. One big play dialed up, but a lot of short stuff. A lot of trying to establish the run game with that big offensive line. And so far, those guys have done a nice job up front. Lawrence Rivers, senior center, has anchored that line as well on the interior. So 5 guys, as we talked in the pregame, really doing a good job early here for the Cadets. Second and 7. Cannon going to wind up on the wheel route. Has a man caught. Touchdown. Bubba Frazier. Beautifully thrown football. Christian Gokel and the Cadets are on the board, even though they're not going to put it up there.
Yeah.
They're up 6-0.
Just a really good timing route there, Kevin, from them, and able to hit Bubba Frazier in the back of the end zone. And you get to see a little bit of the arm talent as well. Great job there all around.
And that was a beautifully placed football by Stephen Cannon right there on the money, and Frazier just went in there and got it for the touchdown. Now here is Connor Ferguson to tack on the point after. And looked like they were going live special teams, at least on the kickoff. Let's see if they come after the extra point. Here's the kick. It's up and it's good. 7-0 BC for whatever that's worth. And a nice opening drive, Christian Gokel, to get things started here for the Cadets.
Yeah, absolutely, Kevin. And again, you had some weird stuff there. You had I'd say personal foul. I think you could put a little bit of that there on the BC quarterback as well that extended the drive. But it's hard when your quarterback run game's part of your offense to truly get away from that. So I'd be interested to see how that develops for both sides as this game goes. But, hey, you put the ball in the end zone, first game of the season on the first drive.
Certainly. So the Cadets with a nice opening drive. Now let's see what the Cadet defense has to offer when they take the field. Again, a lot of talk about Third Scroggins and the commit to Miami, and he's a guy that has really, if you look at the body type, Christian, has really exploded, no pun intended, the last couple of years. A big-bodied kid. When we saw him a couple years ago, you're like, yeah, he's getting a few snaps coming off the bench there on defense, and then he came back for that junior year, and it was man-child time for Third Scroggins. Really put in a lot of work, bulked up, and that junior year really developed into the player that obviously a lot of people are excited about around the country and now going to the University of Miami. Here's Ferguson's kick, and he's got the leg strength like he always had back in the end zone, and that is such a weapon, as we've talked about, being able to do that. And now it'll be 1st and 10 for Camden on the 20. So Camden going to take the football, and they will come out under their quarterback, Parks Rindeau. And they'll come out, and now we'll see the spread from Camden as they'll go with 3 wide receivers here. And Rindeau's going to put a man in motion. Cadets in that 3-4 look. Here's the snap. They will give it to the solo back. That's going to be Jordan Hardy, and he'll plow ahead for about 4 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 6 coming up here for Camden. And again, you've got some number changes. Number 9 is going to be Larson Little in there at linebacker. Colby Brennan, a senior, wearing 53 in at the other linebacker spot. And now you see third Scroggins up there, top of your formation. He's coming off that right edge. Here's the pass from Rindeau. It's going to be caught close to a 1st down and the stick. That's Makai Williams coming down to make the stop, but that's going to be a 1st down for Camden after Sean Green picks it up. Sean Green, a sophomore wide receiver for the Wildcats. And now they're going to go hurry up. And to give straight ahead, BC reads that out beautifully. And that's going to be Larson Little, and that's what the coaches hope he's going to be able to do, is get downhill in a hurry and put his nose on the football. We've seen so many guys for BC be able to do that. And now here is Rindeau. They'll check back. And again, you're used to seeing wing T with Camden and kind of deliberate offense, and now they're going no huddle and hurry up. And that's what they're bringing to the Wildcats here this year. That big tight end, Elias Williams, goes in motion. Here's the give inside, and Makai Williams coming downhill will bring him down about the 34, along with Larson Little again. And it's going to bring up 3rd down and about 7. And again, you see that tall young man at the top of the formation that is wearing number 0. That's the tight end, Elias Williams. And he is a big-time recruit. Christian, he's committed to Georgia. Is that right?
I believe that's where he's projected. I don't know if he's 100%.
Here's the pass, and wide receiver fell down was Sean Green. And that'll bring up 4th down. And let's see if Camden punts the football. The defense coming off the field for BC. Yeah, Camden's going to punt. And they will put Bubba Frazier back to handle this punt. Actually going to go double safety back there, Bubba Frazier and Makai Williams. And Camden going to punt this football. A little rugby style. They're going to get it away. It goes up high here to the near sideline. And fair caught by Makai Williams at the 30-yard line. So we've seen one possession from the defense and the offense. And so far, so good for BC, making those adjustments defensively, flowing to the football. I think you're seeing from certain positions what you kind of grown to be known as staples of the BC defense, flowing to the football. And Larson Little with a couple of tackles on that last series. Trips to the right here, Stephen Cannon out for his 2nd possession of the night for BC. And he'll take the snap looking. And now he's going to scramble out of the pocket and touched up. And a flag comes out late. Let's see what we have here. Much more of the thud attack there with the quarterback that time. Holding against BC, he'll back it up. So that'll make it 1st and 20 here for BC, back at their own 20-yard line. Again, our first look at a couple of new guys on offense. Stanley Smart has been in there. He's toted the rock a couple of times from the running back spot. Number 12, you see him standing back there next to Cannon. And who are going to be those 2nd and 3rd targets on offense to make plays? Here's the snap to Cannon. Rush comes right up the middle. He avoids the pressure and throws it. They blow the play dead. And they're going to call that a sack, but that shows you some of the elusiveness there of Camden. We've seen a couple of moves this game so far of him avoiding pressure.
Yeah, I mean, if that's not a touch tackle, that could have been a potential touchdown. You had a guy streaking wide open down the field. So it's a scrimmage. It is what it is. And we want to say thank you to the folks listening and watching for y'all's patience as well. It's a scrimmage for us, too.
Yeah, we're getting dialed up
this
here.
is the first time we were let into the stadium to try to get everything set up. So, hey, hopefully we're getting set up and dialed in here, and you guys get to enjoy the game at home.
We're working out some of the bugs as well. Here's 2nd and long. Cannon avoids the pressure, rolls to his right, winds up, throws it back across the field, has Mekhi Williams. It is interference all day long, and that's going to be a first down for BC. And I think for Camden, that was Natarian King, senior cornerback, doing what he had to do to keep that one from getting caught, and that was just grabbing Mekhi Williams and bringing him down to avoid a huge pass completion.
I mean, a little bit underthrown ball, maybe could have come out a little bit sooner, but he did have pressure in his face there, Kevin, but was able to get a pass out, give him a chance, and like you said, throw it up deep if you have one-on-one with the guy that you really like, because either A, he's going to catch it, or B, pass interference, and you got the latter of those. First down here for the Cadets.
Our high school football is just a yardage penalty, so it's actually going to be second down because it was
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, yeah, because you had the sack, so.
Holding, actually. Well, that too.
Yeah, you had a sack, the touch, the gentle tap sack.
So now it's, after all this, it's going to be 2nd and 10 after the penalty. BC will come out in 4 wides here. And here's the give. Off the right side, nice move, and out to the 34 goes Joshua Washington Jr. Listed at 6 foot, 170 pounds, and that's another staple of a BC offense. You just have guys who just give them the ball, let them run and make plays. And Joshua Washington getting his chance to go out there and do it.
Yeah, that one, you kind of have 3 different options there, Kevin. As soon as you get it, if it looks like it's going to get blown up on the outside, you stick your foot in the dirt, cut up field. But then it's almost like a toss sweep where you can either, A, find that lane between the hash mark and the numbers, or you try to take it all the way outside. It's just, like you said, an opportunity to get the ball to an athlete and let them run.
So 3rd down, we'll call it 6 here for the Cadets. Looking and finds him right in the middle. That's Washington again. And that is going to be enough for a first down across the 40. So a nice pitch and catch there from Camden to Washington, and the Cadets will move the chains again.
Yeah, Kevin, that's what we call a route concept. And if you want to make your first-time starting quarterback's job a whole lot easier, give him those where he has to just look at one side of the field, and he has 3 different options that he can go to. It kind of opened up there, and he made the correct choice. First down for the Cadets.
So Cadets moving the ball on their second drive. And here's the snap. This will be Smart off the right side. Camden doing a much better job that time of snuffing that out. Brought down by Xavier Brown, junior linebacker for the Cats. And that'll actually lose a yard back to the 40. So it'll be 2nd down and 11. 4:09 to go and rolling here in the first quarter. Again, we're playing 4 quarters. We won't see the starters pass Series 1 in the 3rd quarter.
I was about to say. You said pass Series 1. I was like, we're seeing them for the second time right now?
And here's the give coming near side. This is going to be Jack Gannum for BC, and he'll push it towards the 45, stopped at the 44, and that's going to bring up 3rd down. And again, that's Xavier Brown, that linebacker for Camden, with another nice stop in there.
And, again, we talked about Camden, Kevin, and how talented they are. It's just an awesome area and a small town vibe. I know you got the naval base down there and a lot of people in and out, but the people who live there and stay there, this is what they live and breathe for is Camden County football, and they're good year in and year out.
And now the windup up the right side. Cannon lets it go, and just a little too far for Mekhi Williams up the right side. And just trying to test out the arm strength there again, and Cadets are going to have to punt the football.
Yeah, and that's where you come back to your quarterback and say, brother, we needed 7 yards, not 70. Let's just try to find something over the middle. We were probably running that guy deep so we could run some coverage off and try to find something. But, again, it's a scrimmage. His first time under center. He wants to make some plays. And if anything, Kevin, we're going to see the arm talent.
So it will be Connor Ferguson to punt it away. Camden's got 2 deep safeties. It's going to be David Coleman, and Coleman will be the man to catch this, and he will fair catch it at the 24. And they'll give him up to the 25, and that's where Camden will take over on their second possession. Again, Parks Rindo going to come out for his second series for Camden. And again, he's learning a new offense. You talk about night and day, wing tee principles, air raid principles, not really the same thing. So learning curve, I think, for the Wildcats going to be a little steeper on this side of the football than defensively, but I haven't seen them target number 0 just yet. And you know that's going to be a big weapon for him here in 2024. Is Elias Williams. Here's the snap and a read give. BC snuffs that out, and boy, the Cadets flowing to the football defensively.
Yeah, Williams is a superb talent, and I was talking with Coach Britt about how do you defend 6'7". I know we were talking about Georgia earlier, a guy like Darnell Washington. It's that same kind of mold, but honestly, a little bit faster, a little sleeker model right here. He's a guy that it looks like Calvin Johnson lining up against a high school football team.
Here's the snap. Now they'll throw a little bubble screen, another one of those staples, and it's going to go.
Lead blocker for you.
And that's going to be a gain of 9, caught by number 3, Sean Green. And it'll bring up 3rd down and 1, and Camden's going to go. Actually, they're going to mark him back, say his knee touched. It'll be 3rd down and
yeah, and I like going fast in this situation. Don't let the defensive line get set or bring fresh bodies in. Just go straight ahead and pick up the 1st down.
And here's the pass by Rendon.
RPO.
And there it is, up the left sideline. There goes Green, and got one man to beat and tracked down from behind. 3rd Scroggins ball comes out, but they're going to say he was down. And again, that'll show you the talent. 3rd Scroggins running him down. That's a big man from a outside linebacker, defensive end kind of spot, running him down. But Camden's got a nice player in Mr. Green, a 10th grader. Made a couple of plays here early, and Camden's going to go
fast again. I really like this. They're just playing the numbers game. They feel like they have BC outmanned on the outside, so they're just going to keep throwing it out there.
And here's the give, coming back on a counter, and Mekhi Williams not able to make the tackle, and having to bring him down is number 71. That's Paul Thompson, senior D lineman, 6'4", 290 for the Cadets.
And there is a flag.
Chop block against Camden, but again, you're seeing this is something that Camden has to do, right?
Yeah.
They're going to go fast during the season. You got to practice going fast, see how your guys respond to tempo. It can't be, hey, we just did a buck sweep for 8 yards. Now we're going to take 30 seconds and we're going to run another play. They want to go when they get an opportunity.
Yeah, and again, I think 15-yard penalty there for the chop block, but they had BC on their heels, and that's going to be so dangerous for Camden. You kind of get a taste of what this offense for them could potentially look like going forward, but for BC, you're going to see a lot of this throughout the season, so you can't let one mistake tumble into 3, 4, 5.
And look at this. They got Williams, the big tight end, out at wideout. He's out by the numbers.
I'm assuming we're going to see some shots here soon. But bracket coverage here from the Cadets. You got a safety over the top, too.
Here's an inside give. This will be Julian Daly, and he'll be brought down in the backfield. 3rd Scroggins
Can
here
I
to
say
knock
it?
him down.
First time for the year? You can't run East and West against the Cadets.
You really, again, I've said it a bunch.
Yeah.
Under Danny Britt, toughest team that I've seen to run side to side on. If you're going to try to go sideline to sideline, it's going to be a long night most of the time against BC.
It's a team that is built on the buck sweep. So if you don't think they practice going east to west a little bit on defense, yeah, you got to go north and south against this team. And a big tight end lineup in the middle here. 2nd
down and long. They'll give straight ahead. Bo out of the tackle, and there's Larson Little to clean it up. Cam Cody wearing 55 this year.
Yeah, and that time, Kevin, the tight end was split out wide, Williams, but it was actually just like another tackle that was just a yard split out. They were just trying to cave that side in, but a good job by the Cadets, able to set that edge and make the tackle in the backfield, because that could have been a big alley down the field.
So 3rd and forever. They're at the 41. Camden needs the 14 for a 1st down. And they tried to run the underneath screen, and a little too high from Rendon, looking for his wide receiver, Jonathan Stamos. John Stamos?
Huh? Listen.
Jonathan Stamos.
Listen.
It was a full house set over there.
Parents might have been a fan back in the day. But again, I like what Camden's doing. It's really easy football, right? I have 4 guys on this side. You have 2 guys on this side. I'm going to go to the numbers. And that's what they were doing there. They had BC out-leveraged on the outside, outmanned on the outside, and they were looking to take advantage of it, but just a little bit high on that screen, and BC got lucky.
So Camden will punt it away, and they'll rugby style it here to the near side. Oh, that's short. And off to the side. It'll kick and go out of bounds at the 25, and a flag comes flying in the middle of the field. Not sure what that was on. There was a Camden player and a BC player there.
Number 97, Felon punt.
Yeah, let's see what this is all about.
Out of bounds.
I don't know how there could possibly be a flag unless somebody was getting after it on the other side of the field, holding. Trying to be a little overly aggressive, maybe. Let's see what we got. And they'll figure it out here in just a minute. Not seen that one before. What is this?
Blindside
Blindside block. Okay.
I thought it was just Nux.
Like, when did we start giving DAP with the officials here? Had not seen that before. So blindside block. I believe that used to be called a block in the back by most folks. So 3 seconds left to go here in the first. Cadets will get their third possession of the ball game. So far, so good. I've put one in the end zone, a decent drive that kind of stalled out in midfield, but by and large have moved the football. Camden haven't scored yet, but short drive their first series. Second drive kind of put something together, and then a penalty kind of killed their drive there. But I have to think both coaches would be fairly pleased first time out at what they're seeing playing somebody else.
Yeah, and again, two really good football teams going head-to-head, so they're not going to make it easy for you to execute what you want to execute.
So Cadets will come out. 3 seconds left to go in the quarter. 3 wide for Stephen Cannon to the right. He'll look back right side, and underneath bubble screen, Mekhi Williams. He breaks through at the 20, and he's off to the races up the right side, and trips and falls down.
Turf monster.
And it got him, and that'll do it for the Cadets here in the first quarter. 7-0 BC for what it's worth. Scrimmage game against Camden, and we'll be right back with quarter number 2. This is BC football on Watch BC Sports, and we are built by Islands Ace Hardware. Welcome back here to Memorial Stadium as we get ready to start the second quarter. Looks like they've moved the chains. I don't know if this is going to be situational, Christian, but the chain gang has set the ball down at the 44 of BC. Obviously, the Cadets. Oh, that's where they were.
Yeah.
I'm stupid. It's
No,
early season. I forgot about the Mekhi Williams run. I guess I was thinking he wasn't that far up on the run.
Again, Kevin, it is
preseason.
It's preseason for all of us. This is about the coolest I have been
I will say that, yeah.
in an August high school football game. It's pretty nice.
Good to have you along here. Watch BC Sports. We'll have it for you all season long. Want to reiterate, Christian, that most home games we'll just have basically a radio call for you here on Watch BC Sports. That's per the request of the BC folks, but you can carry us along on your phone, wherever you may be and listen to the broadcast. On the road, we'll have the video for you, and that's where we'll be next Saturday up at Paulson Stadium for the Irk Russell Classic, where this BC team will take on Rabun Gap there in Statesboro.
Yeah, and a really cool opportunity to start the season and something historic. I know Coach Britt, Georgia Southern grad, played for Coach Russell, so a really cool opportunity for the Cadets.
So we start the second quarter, and an inside give to Smart straight ahead across the 50. And he'll get 6 on first down. It'll be second down at 4.
Yeah, it's a little gut play there from the wishbone there, Kevin, and I think that's something that we didn't see a whole lot of last year. So maybe just with all the talent in the backfield, creative ways to get on the football.
Now second down is short. They'll give Smart the ball again. Big hole, first down, 40, 35, 30, and inside to 25 before he's brought down. And a big run there by Smart. That'll be a BC Brothers moving first down. BC Brothers moving the chains. And they'll be with us here in 2024 as well. And we're excited to have them along. And hopefully we say it a lot as the BC Brothers move the chains here for BC.
If they hand it to Smart a lot, we will.
And they'll give it right back to him again. This same play inside to 20.
And Kevin, we've spoken about BC the past few years. They've had football players that they have played at running back, right? You had a Bryce Baker last year that you handed the football to a lot. We think of Zaquan Bryan, Ak Edwards of the past few years, but you haven't had that true number one running back. And BC has that this year. I'm interested to see what that offense looks like with the guy his job is to be a running back. Now that one just a misfire, a bad decision there from your quarterback. You had 2-on-2 on the outside. Unless you get a pass interference, then it's a great decision. But you had 2-on-2. They went with the deep man. You had a guy wide open there in the flat that you could have hit, but you do get the pass interference. But you go back and watch film, he's going to see he had a guy wide open there.
So that'll move them inside the 10-yard line to the 9. And that'll make it 1st and goal. And so here's the play off the right side and inside the 5. And that is going to be a nice carry. That's going to be Bubba Frazier. So I think we're going to see him in that Bryce Baker role a little bit, Christian, where they're going to catch it.
Dot in the eye.
Yeah. And kind of leading the way, you've got John Lilly, a senior, at tight end.
And they said they're going to try to hand him the football some as well. So, I mean, don't be surprised if we see a play for him.
Here's the give to Smarto. He got absolutely popped on the way through. That's Xavier Brown, junior linebacker. He read that one beautifully.
Yeah, you're just keying run right now. The Cadets haven't even pretended that they're going to pass out of that formation. So you're keying run. That was a run blitz, and it was a great job of gap discipline, just firing their alleyways from the Wildcats.
So it'll be 3rd down and goal from the 6. And BC going to spread it out with 4 wides here against the Wildcat defense. Here's the snap high. It's over the head and picked up and rolling here to the near side and touched up. He's going to have to take a sack. Is Cannon, and that's one of those things that'll drive the BC coaches crazy, but it's preseason.
Yeah, you get a look at a bad snap. Quarterback, I would have said just fall on it instead of trying to catch it off a bounce pass.
And Lawrence Rivers has been there so much under center. You don't expect to see that too often. He's been so good.
I don't know if that was high or just bad timing, but you also get a chance now to take a look at your field goal kicking unit, which, again, it's a scrimmage, and I'm sure this is what Coach Britt is something he wanted to see regardless.
Out of the hold of Robert Leonard, the senior, Connor Ferguson, a 35-yarder from the right hash. And he's got plenty of leg, and it's right through there. 10-0, BC leading it with 8:55 to go here in the second quarter. So, so far so good for the BC offense. Some plenty of things to work on, Christian. But out of 3 possessions, you've managed to put points on the board twice. And I think if Coach Britt and company go back to the film study and say, hey, 2/3 of the time we touch the ball, we're able to put points on the board, that's a pretty good ratio most Friday nights.
And you've been able to move it in a few different ways, right? Really pounded the rock on that last drive. You've been able to find the football on some deep passes, a beautiful touchdown pass on that first drive. So a few different ways to move the football here for the Cadets as well, which that's what we've heard over and over and over again is just like in years past, this offense is going to be multiple. Now for Camden, they had a lot of success on their last offensive drive, kind of got halted there with the personal foul penalty. But again, they had some momentum going. I'm just curious when we get to see big number 0 go up and try to make a catch over somebody.
So Cadets going to kick this off. We are going live special teams here tonight. And Cadets obviously not respecting Connor Ferguson. That young man has kicked it to the end zone a lot. Now they'll back it up a little bit.
I think the Cadets respect him. I think the Wildcats.
Oh, sorry, yes. Camden's got 3 men back deep, kind of spread out down in that south end zone. So here's Ferguson to kick it from left to right. 8:54 to go here before halftime. And into the end zone it goes, and they'll touch it up. And I know the Cadets want to see that a lot out of Connor Ferguson. And again, coming up, we'll have the Bernard Williams halftime report. Good to have Bernard Williams back with us yet again. And Bernard Williams Insurance has been a big supporter of ours for a long, long time covering high school football, and they are with us again, bringing you the halftime report once again here in 2024.
Once again, first scrimmage for everybody.
That's right. So here is Rindo for Camden. And a high snap. He gathers that one. BC going to flow well and brought down. I keep wanting to say Jeremiah Thomas with that big number 55, but that's Cam Cody.
Yeah. And I have to wonder here, Kevin, if this is a regular season game or these two teams are meeting in the playoffs, how different would Camden's offense look? Because I feel like, again, 6A football team versus 4A football team, I feel like they're going to be running it downhill a whole lot more. And you see right there, just once they start moving downfield, it's really hard to stop them.
Incomplete pass. They were looking for Sean Green. They've thrown to him a lot here early, the sophomore wide receiver. And BC had it read well, really playing downhill.
Well, you're playing downhill, but I wonder if Camden's coordinators are watching that thinking, hey, maybe we pump fake that one and send somebody deep, because BC, they're kind of keying on that right now.
Isaiah Jones coming downhill there. Wyatt Easterbrook playing out there in that secondary as well. They'll put the big man Williams in motion. Let's see if they just try to get him the football. Here's Rindo, takes a snap. Yep, they'll fling it out to him. He makes the catch, runs into his own man, and going to be brought down at the 31 by a host
still
of
gets it.
cadets. So I thought it was only going to be one. He leaned ahead for a couple. When you're that tall, just falling down sometimes can
and
get you some yardage.
It'll get you about 4 yards when he falls forward. But that's what you have to do against him. You have to hit him low, and you have to stop him, stop that momentum. But you saw it took 4 or 5 cadets to finally get him to the ground. And now one-on-one, no safety help over the top.
Zach Maxwell's, they're going to throw it here near side. That's caught. BC reads it nicely, and I believe that is Larson Little cleaning up the tackle there here on the near side. Caught by number 5. That's Jonathan Stamos.
Hey.
If his nickname isn't Uncle Jesse on the team, that's just what's wrong with this world.
They don't even know what that is.
They probably don't. We have Fuller House now. Is Stamos on that?
Is that a thing? I think John Stamos is just doing podcasts now and catching passes in South Georgia.
Here's a high snap collected in, and that's going to go for at least a couple there. That's number 18. I think Dakari Hughes. Or excuse me, that was 15. According to the PA announcer, Hawkins. Or 16. He's got kind of the Antoine Williams. We'll get it right. He's kind of got that 16 tucked up under the back there. Hard to see.
That's legal during scrimmages, all right.
They'll put Williams in motion again. Easterbrook will follow him. Here's
Man
Rindo
coverage for the cadets.
Looking. He'll wind it up. Williams fell down, tried to get up and make a play, but it's incomplete. That'll be 4th down and 3. I know it's a scrimmage. Do you just go for this or work on your 4? I think Camden's going to go for this.
Yeah, and again, why
not?
Punt team.
I didn't know if that was one of those situations. Hey, let's try a 4th down and short.
It's you're trying to treat it as much like a game as you can. And again, they're not keeping score here in the stadium, but 7 minutes to go in the second quarter here, backed up on your own side. BC's been able to move the football. You just go ahead and punt it away.
And they've been rugby style punting. High snap. They'll run to the far side. Oh, BC almost got there. A little better punt this time. It'll hit and take a BC bounce sideways. Did it hit somebody? It went out of bounds. Camden trying to say they had it. I think it hit a cadet who was kind of thought he was out of the play, and it got to that white stripe just in time. So BC will take over. 6:51 to go here in the second quarter. Again, BC football is built by Islands Ace Hardware. And good to have Ace Hardware with us all season long as well, helping us bring you what we expect to be an exciting season in cadet football history, man. It's a toughest schedule in Georgia, 3rd toughest schedule in the country.
Yeah, Danny Britt doesn't schedule easy ones.
Yeah, so far so good, offensively and defensively for the cadets. Here's Cannon on his 4th possession. He'll step up in the pocket and be wrapped up there for the sack. back at the 30, so he'll lose a couple of yards. And just good coverage that time. Nobody open downfield, and maybe in a game he tucks it and runs it, but just nobody open for the throw to football.
That was meant to be a deep shot or with a man coming underneath. So I think with that one, you just got to, at that point, cut it loose to somebody, throw it deep, throw it out of bounds. That was just a bad play.
Second down and call it 15 or 14 here for the Cadets. They'll put John Lilly in motion across the formation. Here's the snap to Cannon. He'll wind up, throw it over. Oh, and just in and out of the hands. That was Micaiah Williams coming across the formation, and just I think maybe one of the problems you saw with Cromenhawk, with Gerner, and that was just a rocket shot coming across the formation. Take a little bit off, let him haul it in, and
yeah, from a broadcast side, I was like, okay, white jersey to, it was a pick. Wait, no, that's his own guy.
So 3rd and 14 here for BC. And here's the snap. Cannon looking. He'll throw it underneath, and it's going to be caught and tackled about the 38-yard line. That's going to be Bubba Frazier. And it'll be 4th down, and I think first 3 and out of the night for BC, they're going to punt the football.
And it's another good chance to see another one of your team's special teams coming out here, try to pin them deep inside the 20. It's a scrimmage. That's what it's for, but that series, your takeaway, you got to get rid of the football. You can't hold on to it and take a sack there.
So it will be Connor Ferguson to punt the football. Camden with the double safeties back deep. High snap. Ferguson's going to get it down. Got it away. And it's going to hit and roll, take a huge BC bounce, and unbelievable. Inside the 5-yard line, and they'll touch it up at the 3.5.
That's a great play. That's a gold star there for Connor Ferguson.
It is, because they were coming. I didn't know if he was going to get it off, and he pinned him down deep. So, again, if you're Camden, you want to work on some things, but they've kind of not had positive field position to work with a lot. Really put together one good drive, and BC's kind of kept them in check for the most part.
Well, if you're looking at the tape, both sides, bad snap there for the Cadets, but able to handle it and get a really good punt off there. But if you're Camden, returns got to fly up there and try to catch that one. I know you want to call Oski and fire and tell everybody to get out of the way, but you got to go up there. That's a ton of field position. That's a 30-yard gain you just gave up.
So here's Parks Rindeau. He's going to be in his own end zone. For 1st and 10, 5:06 to go here in the first half. And again, interesting to see, just like everybody will be, if you come back in week 8 or 9, looking at this Camden team offensively and how they run. And here's the give straight ahead, and Larson Little's going to bring him down. That should be a safety. Oh, they're going to say he got the nose of the ball out by a credit card.
Yeah, if this isn't a scrimmage, I don't know that they give him that call.
Larson Little just shot the gap and was all back there in the backfield. So it'll be 2nd down and 13.
And it's a scrimmage for Camden, but you got to start to wonder how much of the RPO dink and dunk stuff can you do before you try to switch it up if it's just not working.
Yeah. Like I said, I'll be interested to see this Camden team week 8, week 9.
Right.
And how their offenses progress, because it's a lot when you want to go fast, want to go quick. You got a lot of check with me's based on the defensive formation. It's a lot for you to absorb there. Here's the snap. Rindeau deep in his own end zone. Going to throw it over the middle and in and out of the hands. Isaiah Jones maybe got a hand on it. They were looking for Green again.
It was good coverage for the Cadets, but it was almost a better throw. He kind of fit it behind the linebacker and in front of the safety, but just unable to come up with it.
And at least through the first half, Parks Rindeau really likes Green. He's thrown to him a bunch. Either he runs really good routes or he just trusts what he's doing. So 3rd down here for Camden. And they are literally the length of the football out of the end zone. So the snap to Rindeau's a high one. He's going to bring it down, let it fly over the middle, and Williams not able to come up with it. Kind of threw it low and behind him.
And that's one of those ones, if you're talking to Williams and it's what he'll be expected to do at the next level, you got to find the soft spot. And the quarterback, I think they're expected him to kind of stop in that zone right there, but he kept carrying his route upfield. Ball lands behind him. But for Camden as well, interesting play call. You get sacked or get stopped there almost for a safety, and then you don't spend any of the next few plays trying to move the ball out a little bit. So this is a tough punting situation.
Yeah, I mean, the dude's 6'6". Just tell your quarterback you can't miss low.
No,
Just get it up there and let him go make a play.
Listen.
Low snap, dug out. Nice punt. This time by the Wildcats, going to be caught at the 40, and coming here to the near side is Bubba Frazier, trying to set up his blocks, cuts back inside 30, and down inside the 30 to the 26 is Bubba Frazier. And again, that's that elusiveness that the coaches were talking about.
And a quick switch, short field here for the Cadets. Interested to see if they take a shot here on the first play.
Cadets up 10-0 for whatever that's worth here in the scrimmage.
That's worth something. We're competitive people. It looks like some new bodies moving in on the defensive line there, at least for Camden. Just trying some new guys out. If anything, 6A football team, you ought to have some depth.
Well, I'm sure with the new coaching staff, getting as much guys on tape
right
as you possibly can, how do you respond so you know what you have going into next week? And they've got a good Brunswick team next week. Does Camden to open up the season?
Very good Brunswick team.
So here's the give. This will be Jack Gainham left side. He'll lean ahead and get down to the 21, so give him a gain of 5 on first down. And here's Larson Little coming in. So you talked about him getting some snaps on offense. He's going to come in and play that tailback spot next to Stephen Cannon. 4 wide for the Cadets. Here's the snap. Cannon looking. Oh, a double move on the outside. Wide open. Caught. Touchdown, Bubba Frazier. And the Cadets are in the end zone.
We said it. I was intrigued by the first play call. I thought this play call would have been the one on first down. But you get that quick change, kind of have them on their heels there, take a shot to your best player. That's 6.
And Frazier kind of faked the slant and then stayed outside, and it was wide open. And now the Cadets with a chance to tack on some more.
4 drives, 3 scoring drives. You'll take that.
Every single time. 3:11 to go here in the first half. And Connor Ferguson for the point after. Snap is down, kick is up, and it is good. 17-0 BC. 3:11 to go here in the quarter. We'll step aside. This is Benedictine football. Watch BC Sports, built by Islands Ace Hardware.
When it comes to blocking all the obstacles that life throws your way, let Vernon Williams and Auto Owners Insurance help you dodge the hits, analyze the playing field, and run the ball all the way home. We shield you so you can have peace of mind when it comes to auto, home, life, or business insurance. As one of the oldest and most respected independent insurance agencies in the Southeast, we know what it means to stand behind the people we protect head on. Trust in the power of the
Welcome back here to Memorial Stadium. Cadets leading at 17-0 over Camden. 3:11 to go here in the first half of this scrimmage. Again, we should see the starters for 1 possession each, I think, in the third quarter when we come out of the locker room, and then we'll see a lot of the depth get some work here on the scrimmage Friday night. And again, the season starts for real next week. BC's will not start till Saturday. And I had a debate earlier today, Christian, with somebody. We were talking about it, how it's week 0. It's like, do they even call it week 0 anymore? Like, everybody plays for the most part on week 0. Here's the kick, and that's going to be out the back of the end zone. It's like everybody would rather have the 2 off weeks in the middle of the season. So is it really week 0 when 95% of the state plays on that Friday night?
Oh, you got to call it that because, you have the official schedule and when playoffs start, and there's different bye weeks for everything, Kevin. So, I mean, week 0 sounds cool, too.
I mean, can there be a week 0? Like, can there be a year 0? Like, when you're born, you're not 0 years old.
Listen,
you're just
Kevin, you're asking a lot of questions. I don't know if you want the answers.
I'm getting too deep for a preseason scrimmage. Is that what you're saying?
I think so.
So this will be Camden's possession, 3:11 to go here before the half.
Good man.
And it will be Parks Rendu out there again for I'll get his name right at some point.
If nothing else, we have two really good quarterback names tonight.
We really do. Trips up top for the Wildcats, and here's the snap. BC coming. And throw is caught underneath.
Great play.
And that is caught by number 8, Julian Daly. And give him about 5.5 on the play. It'll be second down, call it 4. And so interesting to see kind of how Camden has played this with tempo versus, they're not huddling, obviously, which a lot of teams don't do, but kind of going back and forth between tempo and just kind of regular pace. Here's the give, and this is Daly. He'll have the first down, brought down by third Scroggins and a couple other cadets there at the 38-yard line. That'll be a first down for Camden. And how does that mess with your tempo when you're trying to learn an offense? Hurry up, slow down, hurry up, slow down.
I think they're doing what they're supposed to do, which is as you have success, you press the gas pedal. If they bust off a big one, they're going to go fast. It's kind of Ole Missy, right? Where if you bust off a big first down, going to go fast, then something like this happens. Okay, we're going to slow it down, readjust where we're at. It's just to keep the defense on their heels. Don't give the defense a chance to sub, get a new call in. They just have to go and run as quickly as they can, and they're thinking about what the new play call might have been coming in. So it's something to keep the pressure on, but when you have a bad call or a bad play, you just press the brakes a little bit.
So here's Rindo back in the shotgun. Inside 2 minutes to go here in the first half. And he's going to be touched up. That'll be a sack. He is going to be two-hand touched there in the backfield by Isaac Scott.
I know we don't want to do flag football, but for the quarterbacks at least during a scrimmage, can we give them a flag? I feel like the one finger touch from the defensive end probably isn't a sack in the game. So why is it a sack here? But you put a flag on there, make it a little bit tougher.
But you talk about players progressing through. Scott's made a couple plays tonight. He's a sophomore for BC on that defensive line. So maybe one of the next names we'll be talking a lot about as the season progresses. Minute 5 to go here in the first half. Rindo on a jailbreak screen and incomplete. Threw it a little too tall.
I don't know if that was the worst incompletion of all time. Probably wasn't going very far.
It was not set up well, and BC blew it up quickly. 1 minute to go here before the half. And this is a situation Danny Britt talks about a lot of times, not just in a scrimmage, but in a game. Hey, 1 minute, what can we do? Push the envelope and use this as an opportunity. So a lot of times you say, hey, you're up nicely on Camden. What do we do? Do you just kneel on it, run the clock out, go to – I think BC's going to try to at least get a field goal here.
Oh, for sure. And we get to see a new twist here. BC with 2 guys back deep. They said this is a new change that they're going to have this year. Instead of just leaving 1 man deep, they're going to have 2 guys.
It's going to be kick and hit and check up. Bubba Frazier going to get everybody away from it. And Camden will touch it up at the 32, 48. Well, it's preseason. They let it run a few more ticks. And that's where the Cadets will take over. They need 67 yards to pay dirt. Or maybe about 40 yards to get in a Connor Ferguson situation.
Again, in their minds, it's a 0-0 football game.
Right.
So this is Danny Britt, for all we know, could have just told them, hey, here's the situation. We're down a score going into half. We got to go get some points. I know we're keeping score there on the bottom for the folks at home, but for BC, we don't know what the thought process is.
So Stephen Cannon will come out under center. I'd say all in all is the official starter. Now we saw him play a little bit last year, had to come in when Croman Hawk got knocked around in the semifinal game a season ago. Here he's going to roll out, looking, going to wind up, throw it downfield, and it is caught. John Lilly, what a catch. Or did he drop it? No, he dropped it. And you saw him play a little bit there. Now is the full-time starter. I think early returns, Christian Gokel, so far so good.
No, I think he's been excellent. I think it's the common stuff that you're going to see from a quarterback playing in their first game as a starter, where it's, hey, maybe we're holding on to the ball a little bit too long. Hey, maybe we could have just taken the check down instead of trying to hit the guy deep. So there's very common stuff that we're seeing from him, but I think we're also seeing all of the skills on display for him.
I think the elusiveness, maybe.
Yeah,
not what some people thought it might be.
It's hard to do in a scrimmage, but they said he's kind of a blend of a Holden Garner and a Luke Croman Hawk. So
he'll take the snap. Pressure pushes him out here to his left. Winds up, throws, and in and out of the hands of Jack Ganem, who I don't think was totally ready for it. It'll bring up 3rd down and 10. 30 seconds to go here before the half.
I just like that they're giving him a chance to go make plays here at the end of the half.
So Camden in a 3rd and 10, and I'm sure from their coaching side, you're trying to get off the field here. .30 seconds to go here on 3rd and 10. Cannon's got twins either side. BC picked up the rush nicely. They're looking for a man. Jack Ganem just could not get the
that was great defense.
Outside coverage and good leverage that time by number 4, Natarian King, senior defensive back, and he had that outside leverage and wasn't going to let Ganem get outside on him.
That was really good coverage.
And now 3 and out again for BC, and they'll punt it away with Connor Ferguson with 24 seconds left to go in the half. And I got to say, for 2 teams, one of whom is breaking in a lot of new players, one of whom is breaking in a new system, we haven't seen a lot of confusion on the play calls.
Right.
Usually in the scrimmage, you might see timeout. We're not lined up right. We haven't seen it so far. And here's the punt from Ferguson. High hanging punt. And going to chase him back inside the 25 to the 22.
That's what you got to do. We see corrections in action right there. Didn't let the ball roll back for another 15, 20 yards. Nice adjustments there from Camden and a really good punt there from Ferguson.
What did Coach Britt tell us? Just letting the ball drop, he said, he did a quick study one time. He's like, every time we let the punt drop, it costs us 15 yards just on the roll or what have you.
Yeah, I mean, thinking back, I know a lot of people will be familiar with this name, but Jake Scott, former Georgia great, Miami Dolphins great. That's what he made a lot of money doing. Not the most explosive guy as a punt returner back in the day, but would just go flying up between people, sliding, hand waving in the air to make a fair catch. And it doesngoing matter if you don't return it 20 yards, so long as you are saving that roll from going 20 yards.
15 seconds to go here in the half. Parks Rideau going to work out of the pistol. And here's the snap. They'll fling it out, a little bubble screen, nicely played by Camden. And that's going to be Green up the right sideline. And they have really thrown it to him a bunch here. 8 seconds to go. They got out of bounds, and now Camden looking to move.
You don't have to rush here. You got out of bounds. Take your time a little bit.
8 seconds to go. And the Wildcats will run some new personnel in here. Rideau trying to get the play call, and I think Camden's going to call timeout. As soon as I said, hey, we look pretty good, not a lot of stoppages for not being able to get the play call, and now we have one. So you don't want to thank Islands Ace Hardware for helping us bring you BC football. We're built by Islands Ace Hardware, and they'll be with us all season long. We'll have our Bernard Williams halftime report coming up here in just a little bit. We'll analyze this first half, certainly look ahead to down the road when the games count, which is next Saturday night for BC against Rabun Gap at the Irk Russell Classic there at Paulson Stadium, a beautiful facility to play in as well. And just offhand doing some early looking, Rabun Gap, a small school. You don't know Rabun, Georgia, and Rabun Gap is basically up there where Georgia meets North Carolina. And they're coming a long ways to play, but they've got a young man at quarterback that's very highly touted. So some good quarterback talent on hand next week at Paulson Stadium for the Cadets and Rabun Gap.
Probably a chance for 2 more plays here, Kevin. If you can get another one of those plays that you just hit with the screen or a wheel route down the sideline, or you still have a timeout, hit your big tight end down the middle, you could potentially have time to get into field goal range here.
And we see some of those staples of the spread, those bubble screens and things like that they've been able to execute. It's been kind of the mid-range game and things that they have not been able to execute tonight. Here's the snap to Rideau. He's going to wind it up and throw it over the middle, and it's going to be picked off. Makai Williams, and he's going to return it up the middle. He's got blockers set up. Coming here to the near side. He's got a man in front and going to cut back inside the 30 and take a shot. But an interception to end the first half, and that's a nice kind of frosting on the cupcake. That is the first half for BC. They'll get one series with the starters coming out in the second half, but your offense put up 17 or 3 scores, however you want to look at it, if you're not keeping score in the stadium. But by and large, you're hitting on about a 50-60% mark scoring, putting points on the board per possession. In terms of possessions there in the first half, not bad.
Yeah, Kevin, I think you look at it and you say we shut them out, and we were able to score on 3 different drives, and we're moving on another one where things just kind of fell apart a little bit. So first time out with the quarterback, offensive line I thought did a really good job. A couple of sacks were they just put a finger on you where he's not going down with that during a game. So all in all, I think a really, really strong first half for the Cadets.
We'll come right back. The Bernard Williams halftime report right around the corner as we are at half of this preseason scrimmage between BC and Camden here on WatchBCSports.com.
When it comes to blocking all the obstacles that life throws your way, let Bernard Williams and Auto Owners Insurance help you dodge the hits, analyze the playing field, and run the ball all the way home. We shield you so you can have peace of mind when it comes to auto, home, life, or business insurance. As one of the oldest and most respected independent insurance agencies in the Southeast, we know what it means to stand behind the people we protect head on. Trust in the power of the shield since 1934. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Have I prepared enough? There'll be unexpected turns. When things get tough, I need to stick to the game plan. No regrets. I'm ready. Are you? Get ready. Contact Abel's Iron Moore & Associates today and see why they are different. Because nobody ever wishes they'd saved less for retirement.
The honor, the heritage, the tradition of excellence. The home for Benedictine Cadets football is WatchBCSports.com. All the games, play-by-play, and in-depth analysis. Home of the Danny Britt Show. Be a part of the action as your Benedictine Cadets take the field in their quest for yet another championship. On the official home of the Cadets, WatchBCSports.com. And look for us on Facebook and Instagram at WatchBC Sports.
Back here with Bernard Williams halftime report. Good to have you here at the stadium. The cadet freshmen making their first run across the field here as tradition for BC. We are at the half. Cadets leading at 17-0 for whatever that's worth in this scrimmage. We are brought to you by Bernard Williams Insurance. Good to have them along with us for 2024 as well as we have reached the halftime here in the scrimmage. And Jack Holland, the Benedictine AD, going to join us. And it's always a busy time for you, and we're glad we can catch up here with you the preseason. But first off, you're a busy man. We know that. Coming into football, you got new regions, toughest schedule in the state, third toughest schedule in the country for whatever that's worth. You guys at BC, you wanted to be elite. You said, hey, we'll play anybody. And, well, I guess that's what we're doing here in 2024.
Yeah, it's one of those things is, we worked through the offseason after last season ended and, attempted to get games with a lot of teams that were within, 2-hour drive and teams that have great programs and just could not find a game, not just at home, not just away, but just really any. And as we stared at our region schedule with probably the strongest and deepest region we've ever been in the history of the school, we were trying to find a couple of games that not were, necessarily extremely winnable, but not the tests that we're going to get the next couple of weeks. But no, it's without a doubt the hardest schedule we've ever faced. The kids, the coaches have embraced it. But having said that, we're going to play some teams and in some atmospheres that we just haven't seen too much of. And as much success as we've had in the last 10, 12 years, we're embarking on something that we just haven't done before. And the next month leading into region will be really, really interesting to see how we do against these great programs and ultimately how we respond, good or bad.
A couple of things to talk with you about that. Just give folks, obviously we know what the region is, but a lot of new things in GHSA. Just from your standpoint, athletic director, I know you're involved in how some of these things come about. Maybe not 100%. I'm not saying it. Hey, I signed up for Perry and Warner Rob, but how did that all come about? And just if you could give us the insight to why BC stayed 4A, because I know there was a possibility for you guys to play 3A football, but it was decided, and I think Coach Britt said relatively easy, you want to stay right where you were. But kind of give folks some insight into how all that went down and what it means 4A versus 3A and kind of how Perry and Warner Robins ended up playing with Waycross or Ware County and Burke County and you guys and everybody else.
Yeah, it's I do not envy the GHSA and their staff having to go through reclassification. There's no easy answer, and it's really, really hard when you have that many schools all over the state. And some, obviously, areas like Atlanta are so populated, and then you have schools that are, an hour from the closest high school. So it's really difficult. As we got classified, we got our numbers and reclassification put us in AAA. And looking at the region we could possibly be in there, and also the GHSA implemented a single A through AAA private playoff format for the first time ever, getting together with not just our football programming coaches, but all of our sports across the board. It was a desire to play a little bit of a bigger school and play in some great atmospheres, knowing that we were going to be biting off something that we don't know if we can chew or not. But we just wanted to kind of take that step up. And I say step up because there's no longer a 7A, so a lot of schools came down, and we're going to be playing against some schools that are much larger than us, but we always have to a certain extent. But we kind of embraced that challenge. Now, having said that, we had no idea who was going to be in our region. We had a pretty good feeling. Coach Strickland at Ware County and Coach Britt talked a good bit that Ware would be in our region. Wayne, who's an old rival going back decades. New Hampstead, who has just been really, really good under Coach Hockman out there. We kind of felt those were pretty good. We thought maybe Statesboro could slide down, maybe a couple of Augusta schools might be pushed into our region. Perry and Warner Robins were never on the radar. But having said that, Warner Robins was placed into 5A during reclass. They petitioned to come to 4. They were granted that. So at that time, they were able to have kind of their next door neighbor, Perry, be with them. And the GHSA found that it was the best for everybody in 4A to move them to our region. And, we're excited to play those type of programs. I mean, Warner Robins has been as good as any program in the state the last 10 years at a high classification. And then, of course, Perry goes and wins the 4A state championship last year. So what a great region it's going to be across the board in all sports. But I think football is going to be the one that gets the attention because you have Ware that won a state championship a couple years ago. Warner Robins has played in more state championship games than not in the last 7 or 8 years. Perry defending state champion. Wayne County, such a tradition-rich program. And New Hampstead, who might have the best quarterback in the state, and Rayshawn Truel. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun, but we're excited to take it on.
A couple other questions about the schedule. A couple of weeks, Buford, which Christian and I were talking about at one stretch in the not-too-distant past. They played in 10 straight state championship games, which in different classifications as well. And then just talk about that trip, and then I'll let you go into how you guys ended up playing Moeller, which is one of the tradition-rich programs in the state of Ohio that you guys will be taking a trip. I remember looking at you in Miami, you're like, man, this was a lot. Then you're like, Charlotte, okay, now you're going to Ohio. You accept the challenge. But talk about those two games and kind of how they got on the schedule.
Well, Buford came about by the same way a couple of other games came about. We were just struggling for a couple of months to fill some non-region slots. And, some of the bigger, better programs in the state were putting things out there. And we were like, okay, do we want to go to Atlanta again? We've been there the last couple of years. And then we said, hey, there's not a more recognizable brand in the state of Georgia than Buford. So we called up to Buford, and Buford was desperately looking for games, as you can imagine, and said, hey, they asked if we could come there the first year, and then they come back here to Savannah next year and said, hey, let's take it on. Once again, knowing that we're going to play 10 future SEC players on their defense and everything that comes with the Buford brand, that is going to be, when we talk about next level and a step up, that's a couple of steps up. So we're looking forward to taking that trip. We got a lot of alumni in Atlanta that'll get another chance to see our guys. And then, of course, to welcome Buford here to Memorial Stadium in 2025. That'll be a great opportunity. But, yeah, I mean, you just talk about, you said 10 straight state championships and all those battles they had with Calhoun years ago. And then they just kept winning state championships, moving up, win another one, move up, win another one. Now they're playing in the highest classification and then as talented as probably any roster in the country. So we're looking forward to that. And then, a couple of weeks later, we go to Ohio. I've never been to Ohio. I've never been to close to Ohio. I'm not the most well-traveled person in the world, but excited about that. And that came about because we had been in talks with another school about playing a game. Just couldn't match up on dates. And they said, hey, y'all might want to look at this event they have up in Ohio the second week in September. And it's a kind of advertised as Ohio versus the United States. Every game has one Ohio team playing somebody from outside of Ohio. And we called up there and they said, we do have a spot, and it's going to be on a Saturday, which is a little different. It's going to be at 1:00. Some of our fans, even some of our young alumni have already talked to me. The game's in Ironton, Ohio. Georgia plays Kentucky that night. right down the road. I think it's about an hour and a half, hour and 45 to Lexington, Kentucky. So we'll play at 1. That game will wrap up at about 3:15, and then they'll get on the highway, head over to the Georgia-Kentucky game. So that kind of ended up being pretty cool for our parents, supporters, and alumni. That's how that came about. It is not something we had planned probably until about 6 months ago. But also the opportunity to play Archbishop Muller. I mean, Danny has wanted to play some of the better Catholic school programs in the country the last few years, and then we did that with Christopher Columbus a couple of years ago. And we've been in talks with some other big Catholic schools around the Southeast. But, man, you talk about a tradition-rich program across the board, and the names that have gone through there, the success that they've had. Again, going to play one of the better Catholic school programs in the country. We're excited about it. But that's going to be a long bus trip. That's going to be extremely – I remember when I was just out of high school, Camden County actually played on a game on ESPN when they were the best team in the state of Georgia at the time. They played at Ohio State, nationally televised game. And I said, how in the world are they driving from Camden County to Ohio? We're a little bit closer, but not much. Right. And so here we are doing it. It's pretty surreal, but we're looking forward to both of those trips and seeing where we stack up.
Obviously, your job as AD is never ending, but just talk about things at BC. Obviously, with your athletes, it seems like you guys have a number of guys going to play at the next level. Certainly on this football team, a number of guys who have already committed to go play at the next level, and things are always growing. And I know folks probably ask you every 5 seconds about the football plans there at campus, but just update us on that. And obviously, you guys are always interested in folks becoming a part of the Alumni Association and helping you reach those goals. But where do those things stand, and how do you feel? Just you guys said, hey, we want to be a marquee athletic program, and I feel like you are well entrenched in becoming that and doing that.
Yeah, and it's a big school picture too. You know, the thing that makes BC special is not only are we, as competitive as we can possibly be athletics, but it's the academics. It's obviously the Catholic faith and spirituality that goes along with it, and then the ROTC program that all of our freshmen and sophomore have to take. So everything we do is with the lens through those 4 pillars. And it's been so exciting with our recent capital campaign led by our former Director of Advancement, Greg Marketon, the improvements that we made to the campus. It doesn't look anything like it did 5 years ago. And to hear our alumni come back that hadn't been back in a while and be so excited and so proud of what our campus looks like, it's been great. Now, as we turn the page and we look to the future, I'm personally and selfishly excited about the athletic enhancements that are coming. And one of those things is ultimately a football stadium. And that's something we've never had on campus. And obviously our people are going to rally behind that. And hopefully that's sooner rather than later. But we also have some other ideas of how we can improve the overall high school experience for our cadets. And whether that be through facilities or technology and things like that. And, we're a couple of years away from our 125th anniversary of the school, and there's going to be so many exciting things coming with that. I can't get into too much detail because there's a couple of routes we can take with it, but so our people know we do have some exciting things around the corner. But again, like you said, if we don't have the support from our folks and our alumni, which we always have had, but sometimes you just need a little bit extra push, and that'll be coming. But yeah, no, so many exciting things going on. Great people, great leadership from Father Frank, and again, there will be more information coming out to the BC faithful about what's around the corner for Benedictine and the campus.
All right, final question before we let you go. I know you're a busy man. Your thoughts on what you've seen so far through a half of scrimmage, at least, about I know at the end of the day, when this happens, you can become just a fan, right? Once you get to, you said once it kicks off, my job becomes a lot easier. But what do you think about what you saw from the team in the first half?
We had lightning delay, so that always makes my life a whole lot of fun. But no, I'm very impressed. I mean, you come in and play a program like Camden County, who made the Final Four in 7A last year. We got a lot of new faces in important positions, a lot of starters, had a great senior class graduate, but very impressed. A couple of penalties here or there, but you expect that in scrimmages. But no, the execution on offense, got a lot of new skill players, but a lot of guys with a lot of talent and some Division I offers. The defense got gashed a little bit, but I tell you what, they were tough in that front seven. The coaches will start watching the film of this tonight around midnight, 1 a.m., and they'll come back with 148 things we didn't do well. But that's good. And then you play a good program like this, like Camden, you find out more about yourself than you would some other teams. But no, very impressed early on. Again, you take it with a grain of salt. It is a scrimmage. It is day one. But it does get you excited because, hey, we're going to have to be at our very, very best the next couple of weeks and throughout the season. So far, so good. And in the second half, you're going to see some young guys. You're going to see some backup guys, some JV guys. They'll get some good experience, and hopefully they'll execute and play well.
And next Saturday, we'll be up at Paulson Stadium for Rabun Gap at the Eric Russell Classic. Jack Holland, athletic director here at BC, our guest. Always a pleasure having you on. Thanks so much for joining us here as we just get started with the 2024 season. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you, Kevin, and it's great to have Christian Coquel back. I thought he abandoned us, but he's back and raring to go, and great to have you guys. Y'all the two best in the business, so great to see you guys again.
We appreciate it. We're coming right back with more to come here on the Bernard Williams Halftime Report.
When it comes to blocking all the obstacles that life throws your way, let Bernard Williams and Auto Owners Insurance help you dodge the hits, analyze the playing field, and run the ball all the way home. We shield you so you can have peace of mind when it comes to auto, home, life, or business insurance. As one of the oldest and most respected independent insurance agencies in the Southeast, we know what it means to stand behind the people we protect head on. Trust in the power of the Shield since 1934. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
You know, Christian, after a day of the hottest... Welcome back here to the Bernard Williams Halftime Report. Kevin Thomas, Christian Coquel here as we get ready for the second half. Your thoughts, Christian, on the cadets there in that first half?
I thought there was a lot of positives. I mean, it's starting on the defensive side of the football. You don't know how much of it was Camden County was trying out some stuff that maybe they want to see that they have. Was that what they would throw at you in the regular season? We just don't know. But I thought you were able to create some pressure off the edge. Didn't look like there was really any busts in terms of the coverage. The only time they were able to pick up big gains was just blocking you well on the outside on some of those quick pop passes out to the outside. Offensively, I think it's interesting, Kevin, because we got to look at who the weapons are going to be, but we really don't know how they're going to use them all yet. I thought Stanley Smart was probably the standout for me in the first half. We talked about it a little bit, but I think it's going to be exciting to see what A.J. DePhillips and this offensive staff could draw up when they have an actual designated running back. Not a guy who's an athlete who plays a lot of different positions and then comes in and plays running back when he need to get some touches. A dude who goes to practice, I'm a running back.
Yeah.
Right? Defense goes out for defensive drills, that's cool. I'm a running back. I'm not having to go play linebacker, safety, anything like that. I'm a running back, and that's what I focus on. So I think that's going to be exciting to see. And then quarterback play, again, I don't know what the coaches told him before the game. Maybe it was, hey, be aggressive, cut it loose, hold on to the ball, try to throw it deep. I can't imagine that's what they said. I think they probably said, hey, let's try to execute and be efficient. And I think there was a few times where we were missing the efficiency in terms of trying to go for the big play. If there's any critique, that was it.
Defensively, looked pretty good. I know Camden's breaking in a new offense, but defensively, not a lot to complain about, I don't think. Your coverage was good. Zach Maxwell at times lining up on a 6'7" receiver. I think by and large looked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, there weren't any busts. And I think there's been a little bit of bracketing going on, but I don't know how much of that is because Ellis Williams is who he is. I think that might just be how BC plays defense, right? The zone coverages that they like to play, where I'm a linebacker, I'm going to make it hard for a quarterback to throw down the seam over me and between the safety. So if we're talking about that, I think they did a really good job. And on the outside, like I said, usually Benedictine, especially against a team that has really good athletes, is going to play cover 4. And for those of you at home, that means you're going to have 4 guys back. Your 2 corners on the outside are going to have a quarter of the field. And then your 2 safeties in the middle are going to have those 2 quarters of the field in the middle and not letting anybody behind them. And I thought they did a really disciplined job of that there in the first half.
Yeah, so I thought they did a good job of that as well. Kicking game looked good. Again, you wanted to struggle. I think I heard you talking with Danny Britt at the Danny Britt show. He said, look, if we're going to get burnt, let's get burnt this week. If we're going to mess up, let's mess up this week. Haven't had a whole lot of mess ups. A couple of penalties here or there, but by and large, pretty clean football, looking good. And I know it's probably a catch-22. Hey, yeah, we look good, but I also, how do we respond when things go bad? And not much went bad for BC in that first half, because you know you're going to have some back and forth with the Bufords and Mollers and all those coming down the road.
And you don't want to ask for it, but the reality is I think Danny Britt probably would have liked Camden to be executing a little bit more efficiently on offense, because it gives you some more stuff to coach up, right? Who is able to make a play, who maybe gets burned, who maybe didn't pass off the coverage correctly. So coming back, I don't know that you're going to hit and you're going to pop a little bit. But in terms of getting a look for your team, I don't know how much of a look you're going to get where 60% of the offense that you're facing right now is quick pop passes out to the outside. That's just wrap up and tackle. That's fine. They haven't really been able to stretch you out over the middle. And then, honestly, when they've tried to run directly at you, they've had some success, but they've gone away from that pretty quickly. So I don't know how many notes he's going to be able to have from that first half. And then again, we're only going to get to see each offense one time here in the second half before they start rotating in some of the 2s and 3s. So I don't know how much of a look really that first team defense is going to get. And as you get into the beginning of the schedule, Raven Gap and Buford, you're going to get stretched over the middle. They're going to take some shots, and they're going to run the football at you. And if you're giving up 10 yards a clip up the middle, they're not going to stop. So some good, some bad. I just don't know how much of a look you've gotten so far. And again, it's a scrimmage. Camden's trying to work on some stuff right now, so it's not necessarily giving you the best look, but it snaps, and that's what matters.
That's going to do it for the Bernard Williams halftime report, brought to you by Bernard Williams Insurance. And we appreciate them being with us all season long yet again as we bring you BC Cadets football. So we get ready for the second half. The Cadets will kick it off here to Camden after the Cadets took it in the first half, Christian Gokel. So they will reciprocate and play defense here to start in half number 2. That's usually how it works.
The last time we're going to get to see this Camden County first team offense out there before they make the switch to the 2s and 3s. So an exciting look here for the BC defense. Last time you're going to see BC's first team defense as well. So just last chance to put some film out there and get a look at this defense.
So here we go, ready for the second half. Connor Ferguson will kick it off. Again, this is Cadet football built by Islands Ace Hardware. Here in this preseason scrimmage. Here's the kick. It is going to be deep and out of the back of the end zone. Boy, it's not been one of those where it's scraping the front edge. He has been deep and out of the end zone all night long. And now we'll see that BC defense out there once again. And again, I think the big thing is, Christian, for me, is the guys you wanted to see play well on that defense have played well. Larson Little flying to the football. Third Scroggins making plays. Zach Maxwell, we haven't said his name hardly at all night. Why? Because he's had it locked down out there at the corner spot. So Mekhi Williams has come down and made plays. I think Cam Cody sliding to the inside has been a nice touch. He's filled up the middle very nicely. So here's Parks Rindeau to start it off here in the second half for Camden. Out of the pistol, they'll give it off that left side, and there's going to be maybe a 5-yard gain on the second effort. Isaiah Jones, sophomore.
Yeah, just trying to create a wedge there on the sideline and bust it down the sideline. Really nicely blocked there, and a really good first down play for the Wildcats. BC now, they don't know if they're going to run it or pass it here.
That was Julian Daly on the carry. Here's Rindeau again out of the pistol. He'll give it to Daly again, this time up the middle. BC reads it well, but he'll move the stack, still moving the stack. They'll give him forward progress up to the 37. It'll bring up third down at about 3.
Nice job on the front 4 there, just creating a pile. Linebackers come up and fill. We just talked about it. Running was successful in the first half.
BC coaches trying to change the defense. Now they got everybody's attention. And now Rindeau. He'll fake the counter, throw underneath. This is Williams, the big tight end. He's got it. He's up the right side, left side, and that'll be a first down out near midfield.
He had maybe one catch in the first half. They targeted him a lot, just weren't able to get him the football, but that's what he can do. Really dangerous on the outside. You think 6'7", you think, hey, jump balls, but the dude's built like a wide receiver.
Mekhi Williams comes down from a safety spot to make the stop. It'll be 1st and 10 for Camden. And Camden trying to put together kind of their best drive of the night. They'll give it to Daly, and he is going to be stuffed and go nowhere. Second effort, they're going to move the pile, still going, and he gets shoved ahead. They're going to end up giving him 6 on the play.
You say you got to finish. That's a weight room play right there. Really good job by the running back, just keeping the legs churning and moving. But right now, BC's defensive line is whipping Camden's offensive line. Probably would Kansas too.
That was Antoine Williams, the running back on that carry. I apologize. I don't think they say Rock Chalk Wildcat down there in Kingsland.
I don't believe that's ever been muttered before you said it.
Here is Williams off the left side, and he'll be hit and driven backward. The ball comes out, and it's still loose, and it's going to be picked up. Did Larson Little fall on it? Or who fell on it? I thought it was Larson Little. It looks like BC is going to come up with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a scrimmage here, Kevin, so I'm curious, if you're Camden, is that the last time you see your first-team offense? Do you let it in like that?
Maybe, I don't know. Big number 53, Colby Brennan, the senior, comes up with that fumble recovery.
I don't know if I would blame them if they sent him back out for one more.
And you just haven't done anything.
Yeah.
So now we'll see Stephen Cannon for what we believe will be the last time tonight. He's looked really good. 2 touchdown passes, both of them to that go-to receiver, Bubba Frazier. And Connor Ferguson there to tack on a field goal into the scoring. So Cannon will have Stanley Smart offset. Smart, the sophomore running back, in the tail of that flex bone. Here's the snap. Cannon going to give it to Smart straight ahead, and he'll get stood up. That interior Camden County defensive front doing its job.
And if there's a conversation you had with your team, I think both of them in the locker room, is we can't get beat up the middle. And if the offense is going to beat us, it has to be on the outside with the run and over the top through the air. We just can't get beat easy up the middle, and both defensive fronts have come out and made a point of that here to start the second half.
Second down. Cannon going to be flushed in. There's the touch-up and the sack. And I think two-hand touch, real game, whatever.
Yeah.
That's a sack. Stephen Cannon's got bottled up, nowhere to go. So it'll be third down and about 17.
And you really wonder for both of these units, it's like, hey, this is our only drive. Are the juices there right now? I'll tell you one thing. when those second teamers get in, firing on all cylinders.
Let the hitting begin.
Yes.
Slow up and touch the quarterback. What?
Excuse me? We're second-class citizens Monday through Thursday, and now you're telling us to slow up? I don't think so. It's our chance to shine.
So you're starting to work some of those guys in at wide receiver. Michael Hogan in at wide out top of your screen. Here's the snap to Cannon. He's looking. He'll be flushed and touched up at the 40, and that play was not well blocked. And it'll be 4th and 7 miles to go for the Cadets, and they'll punt the football.
Yeah, both units just kind of a disappointing. If that is the final time you're going to see those two units. It's a disappointing way to end that scrimmage right there. Just really no fire from either unit.
So Connor Ferguson will come on to punt this ball away. 2 deep safeties back there for the Wildcats. Natarian King is one of those, trying to see who the other is back there. And we got a timeout on the field. We'll take it with them with 7:35 to go here in the third of this preseason scrimmage. Cadets up 17-0. This is Watch BC Sports Cadet Football.
You know, Christian, after a day of the hottest sports in town, sometimes you just gotta unwind.
Yeah, Kevin, and the perfect place to do it, Cool Vibes Pizza and Wings.
That's because Cool Vibes offers delicious pizza, wings, sandwiches, and salads, all with a Jamaican Caribbean island twist.
And the atmosphere is 100% kicked back. No worries, man.
Plus, they're the home of the Oxtail Pizza.
Cool Vibes Pizza, 4501 Montgomery Street, Savannah. That's coolvibespizza.com. Cool with a K.
Come on and unwind at Cool Vibes. You know, Christian, after a day of the hottest sports in town.
Welcome back here to Memorial Stadium after the timeout. Connor Ferguson will punt it away for the Cadets. And good snap. Oh, Wildcats were coming after it. Nice punt. Boy, that is a missile back towards the 10-yard line. Bobbled and picked up. And they're going to call it dead back at the 12. Boy, that thing came off like a rocket shot. Maybe you should go a 9-man rush every time. Boy,
that was about 60 yards in the air.
He knew we had to get rid of it, and he did.
Boy, did he.
So let's see what Camden does. Looks like they're going to bring in James Kirkland, their backup quarterback. He's a senior playing behind Rindo. And again, at this point, hey, snaps are snaps. If you move this offense here, if you're Kirkland.
Yeah. And that's what we don't know is, yeah, you got guys who are, quote unquote, starting right now for some of these units, but there's some guys that are going to come out with the twos right now who I guarantee you are fighting for starting spots.
Yeah, I can still move this offense, Coach.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what the second line looks like for the Cadets.
And we'll try to call some of those out as they go out there. But, yeah, after this performance by offensive and defense, I don't think you need to see more of Cam Cody tonight.
And we had some funny comments, Kevin, during halftime. One of them said it looks like pretty much everybody at BC plays football because a lot of dudes are dressed out tonight. I don't know that they're going to dress all these guys every Friday night. I think there might be some JV players out there right now, but just a little history for those who don't know. BC traditionally carries right at 400 students is the number of enrolled cadets at a time.
Right now?
Yeah, 409 right now. But, I mean, that might just be because Danny Ray needed a couple more defensive tackles. But that said, it is a smaller school. And so, yeah, if you're looking at it right now, 25% of the student body on the football field. And I'd say if you count the support staff, we're probably closer to 30, 40%.
Yeah. Good showing there. Like you said, you load up and go to Buford, you load up and go to Moeller. Probably not everybody making that trip.
Yep.
And right now we're waiting. JoJo Sutton, a junior defensive back for BC, is being helped off the field. He's got some cramps. And
I was going to say, that was me getting out of the car when we got up here today. Just
how do you know you're getting old? I got to get out of the car. And,
the straight
you
leg.
Locked it up. You locked it up.
When that hamstring lock. Okay, first off, after Debbie rolled through, Kevin, that ground, and we had a wet June.
Oh, yeah.
That ground is completely saturated. If you look in the air right now, just underneath the stadium lights, that's just that 85% humidity.
Oh, yeah.
Now, for both of these teams, luckily for them, they're all too familiar with humidity.
So here's James Kirkland in at quarterback for Camden. He's obviously wearing the non-contact blue jersey. He'll give it off the left side, and nicely stuck there, number 34. That's going to be Jesse Newsom, a sophomore, with the carry. We'll try to call out who BC's got out here on defense for you as we.
Let us know in the comments, where is it more humid, Camden or Savannah?
Robert Leonard out there on that defense. You've got Cole Schumann in there at linebacker as BC shuffling around. Bennett Conaway in there at left defensive end. Still got Marquis Williams out there. Here's the counter give up the middle, and that'll dive ahead across the 20, close to a first down out of the 23-yard line. It'll bring up a third down and about 3. And now Camden County going hurry up. And they'll fake the counter, go back to a little bubble screen, nicely read, and a tackle made out in the flat. That's Cameron Gonzalez, 6'1" senior defensive back, had a load to bring down just across the first down marker. It'll be 1st and 10 for Camden, but
it was a strong tackle, but he had all his momentum going forward. That's a really good call there from Camden.
Not afraid to stick his nose in there. So Kirkland picking up a first down for Camden. They'll have a give coming back here to the near side, right up the middle. Nice hit in the hole. Made by number 33. That's going to be Cole Schumann.
This is the cool part of scrimmages like this. It's Friday Night Lights, but you got some parents out there who are going to see their kids play on the big stage for the first time ever. And, you get a 6-yard gain against you, but boom, my kid made the tackle.
Yeah, he brought the lumber. Schumann Lumber Company. Camden trying to change personnel here.
Print the T-shirts.
5:20 to go here in the third. Again, both teams into their second units here. Kirkland Hill give it off to the left side and trying to get that outside leverage. BC in pursuit, but not before the Wildcats are going to pick up the first down with number 34, Jesse Newsom. And they've just kind of gone Newsom left, Newsom right.
Listen, and it's 2 first downs. Sometimes play calling's easy.
So 1st and 10 for Camden from their own 38. As they'll check with the far sideline.
I was going to say, I love everybody looking to the side.
And they kind of fake that hard count, too, just to try to see if they can get you leaning. Here's Newsom going straight ahead. He'll have first down yardage or be close to it.
Newsom's fresh.
I think they're going to say he got the first down.
I mean, everybody should be fresh, but Newsom's got those legs churning.
So here's Kirkland. He'll throw the bubble screen out in the flat and a gain of 3 or 4.
I mean, Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, it's basically a triple option just with nobody in motion.
Right.
You've got a handoff that you can pull or give, and then you have a slot guy just kind of taking a step backwards that you can throw the football to. I mean, it's triple option football from the looks of it.
So Kirkland moving the Wildcats here. It's 2nd down and about 7. He'll give it straight ahead to Newsom, and he'll be clogged up there in the middle.
Now a chance to see some 3rd down defense and a 3rd down offense from Camden.
Tackle made by number 54, Michael Taylor.
And this might be a 2-down situation here. Maybe just give it to Newsom a couple times.
So 3rd down and about 4.
BC going single high.
Showing some blitz there, now backs out of it.
Again, first game jitters. You got time, though. You got 15 seconds to figure it out on the play clock.
Single high safety is Robert Leonard for the Cadets. 3rd down and 4. Here's the snap. They'll fake it to Newsom, try to do a dump pass. And Kirkland couldn't get it there. Had to throw it over the top.
Yeah, they'll stay on the field here, it looks like, for fourth down.
Who was that in pursuit for the Cadets? Number 76, Ty McCurry, a senior.
And Kevin's a shot in the dark, but quarterback's wearing number 12. We know a guy who wore number 12 for Camden and then wore it for Georgia. Oh, Bryce Ramsey.
That's right.
If he's out there listening, what's up, brother?
Inside 3 minutes to go here in the third. It's fourth down and about 4 for Camden from the BC 46. There's a blitz coming up the middle. Had a man over the top and incomplete. Kirkland a little bit too tall for number 84.
And that's been there for Camden a few times. And it kind of reminds me, we were actually talking about them in the car on the way over here, Kevin, that Wake Forest style offense where it's you don't just kind of take a read with the running back. It's you hold that ball in his gut for a few seconds and wait for the defense to make their decision. Then you pull it and pop it. And he had his guy there just a little overzealous with the heater.
And now we'll see the backup quarterback for BC, Omari Burse.
Yeah, that's been Houston Jackson for
the
last few years there, Kevin. I mean, you've had Cromenhawk, but the change of pace guy had been Houston Jackson. He's taken a lot of snaps. Now you talk about a big-time guy coming in as your starting quarterback. This is almost equally as big of a role.
Burse listed at 6'1", which after 6'4", doesn't look as big.
I was going to say, unless everybody else out there is 6'5", that's a question.
And no, that's not what you want from your offense. A bobbled snap, a false start. Or close to it. I don't think they threw the flag, but it looked like somebody got a head start. It'll be second down and 11. And this is the part that I think drives coaches crazy. It's like, hey, you're getting your playing time. Let's not go out there and fumble around and not execute.
Fired up.
Here's Burse. He'll give it on the end around. There is a first down off the right side. That's Cole Fournier, a freshman.
Just a buck sweep, Kevin, around the edge. BC able to seal it and just kind of rode his blockers. And we saw some green grass hit the burners.
Or 20, is that 20? Iran Mallard, 27. Now the toss sweep coming back here to the near side and dragged down inside the 40. That's going to be Marquis Williams. Yeah, we don't see Marquis on offense too often, but a chance to come in the two deep.
And I was going to say, there's some numbers and some uniforms that kind of have some nostalgia and some legacy to them. You were number 3 at BC. You better be making plays.
Here's Burse rolling over the middle, and almost a great catch. That would have been number 27, Iran Mallard again.
Yeah, it almost looked like Mallard thought he had to go from a receiver to blocker there, and then all of a sudden, ball's right in your face.
We got a young man here on the near side. You'll see him come back into the picture. Karan Hall, 6'4".
That'll play.
Wide receiver. So no shortage of big, tall guys to throw the ball to. And here is Burse under center. They'll give it off the right side. This is Mallard. And pushing towards the 30 and shoved back short of the first down. It'll be 4th and 1. And if you're Danny Britt with 1:15 in the third, why not go for it?
Why not go for it? But also at the same time, it could be a chance to get your kicker out there to try a long one. So, I don't know. He's too aggressive for that. Also, Coach Britt carrying the safety duties this year. A little reshuffling on the staff. Some guys unable to come back this year. So Coach Britt, special teams coordinator, head coach, and safeties.
So 4th and 1, they'll go straight ahead. Do they get the 20? It's going to be awfully close. They went straight ahead with Kalen Minzy, 5'6", 190-pound sophomore. They're going to give him the first down.
Little BC brothers moving the chain first down there,
That is correct,
Kevin.
Yes. You beat me to it.
Hey.
BC brothers moving the chains on the first downs. Great folks to call if you are moving.
Slot fade. Oh.
Had the man open, and Burst just a little bit too far, and you could we're right next to AJ DePhillips, and you can see him sending some things down to the field.
I don't know if he is saying lead him a little bit more, because it was hilarious. The quarterback's looking all the way up in the press box at the offensive coordinator. Can't tell if he's saying lead it or throw it to the other side. We're about to find out.
Here's Burst. They'll go right back down, just a little too tall for Hall.
A strong arm, though. I think what he was saying to him after the missed shot deep there was just a little bit more air on it. Touch. Put the touch on it. Like, we know you got the arm. Same thing there. We know you got the arm. Now can you place it?
So it'll be 3rd down and 10 here for BC. Again, mostly or pretty much the entire second unit, all second unit offensive line out there for the Cadets. 24 seconds to go here in the third. Burst, maybe a busted read, going to keep it himself, and they kind of drug him a little bit. I think, hey, option football, wrap up that quarterback, right?
Right. And that's just a quarterback counter right there, because he did have a pitch man. Just don't think he felt comfortable.
It'll be 4th down, and if you went for it before, they'll go ahead and go for it again, and that'll be the end of the third, though. We're coming right back for a 4th down play for BC. This is Cadets football, and watch BC. Welcome back here to Memorial Stadium as we get ready for the 4th quarter. Reminder, coming up at the conclusion of tonight's ball game, we will have the attorney Jonathan Dunn post-game show. Led by attorney Jonathan Dunn, the firm has earned a well-respected reputation as fierce litigators committed to providing exceptional legal representation to our clients. With over 20 years of experience in the legal field, attorney Jonathan Dunn has honed his skills and expertise to cater to a wide range of legal needs. Their team is driven by the core values of integrity, compassion, and relentless dedication to our clients' best interests. So good to have attorney Jonathan Dunn on with us here for the 2025 season. He'll be our post-game sponsor. So the attorney Jonathan Dunn post-game show coming up in 12 minutes.
I think it's very apropos having an attorney as the post-game sponsor, because sometimes you don't know what Coach Britt's going to say. Might need him for libel. Might need him for slander. Yeah. He'll say, Kevin, heard you were having some critiques of me. And, of course, if you have any critiques or just want to talk football, you can always join myself and Coach Britt every Thursday at Bowtie Barbecue for the Danny Britt Show. I'm sure Coach would love to hear your thoughts on what he should have done on this 4th down.
That's right. Great place to come hang out and grab some lunch as well. Here's the snap. Burst going to wind up, throw it left side, looking for Hall. He caught it, touchdown. Whoa! That was an unbelievable catch in the left side of the end zone.
You said all you needed to say about him earlier, Kevin. 6'4". Throw it at him.
Let him go get it. He did.
And we talked about what Coach DePhillips was signaling down to him. Touch. Let your receiver go get it. And he did that time. What a throw.
23-0 BC.
And it's nice to know you have a backup quarterback who's got some wheels and can sling the football around a little bit.
So now BC going to come kick the extra point. There might be some confusion as to whether Connor Ferguson's going to kick it or not. Or they just
doesn't look like it. Maybe. Looks like there could be some starters who maybe thought their night was over.
I think they're asking Danny Britt, are we still kicking, or you just going to kick it off?
I think Danny's asking, hey, can I kick it with no one out there?
Yeah, it looks like he's got a bare bones unit. And I think they're not going to kick it at all. They're just going to take it back and kick it off, it looks like. Are they just going to put it on the 20 and play defense?
Yeah, this looks like that might be what's happening, Kevin.
Sorry for the confusion, but
well,
we said we were playing straight up, and
yeah, you have second and third team units, Kevin, and you don't have second and third team kickoff and
right
PAT units. So I think with this one, they just take the touchdown, give Camden the ball at the 20 or the 25, and go to work from there.
So that's what they'll do. BC still got the second unit out there. We'll try to, again, let you know who's out there as they continue to make plays. And again, you talk about second unit. You got a lot of seniors and juniors who are playing in the second unit.
Right. And for a lot of these guys, their first opportunity to play with the varsity. So some big moments here.
And now what do we have? Just total confusion, and BC wants a timeout. 10 seconds in here to the fourth quarter. And again, I think this is just confusion from where we kicking the extra point and who's supposed to be out there.
Well, and eventually you get down to units where you don't have 4 or 5 deep there on the offensive line. So I think that was part of the problem for Camden. I mean, you got on offense and you got a number 91 running off the field. That's kind of where we're at. Go back into a point you made earlier, Kevin. I'm really curious about this Camden team, what they look like 6-7 weeks into the season. I mean, they play in one of the most difficult regions in all of high school football. I'll say BC right there with them with their 4A region, but still really difficult schedule coming up for them. But the talent's there. Now they just got to find their bread and butter, where the easy stuff is, and then build from there, because I think this could be a really, really fun football team.
So 1st and 10 for Camden here as we're just underway in the fourth quarter. They've got their backup quarterback in, and they try to get to the edge. Not going to happen.
Doesn't matter if it's first team or third team, Kevin. Can't run east and west.
Yeah, Cadets read that one very well. Jeremiah Wallace, a freshman linebacker, making the play.
And another observation here, Kevin. Home side about 80% full, and then the Camden County side, a couple hundred people over there made the trip up from Camden. So heck of a turnout for a scrimmage game here.
So here is Kirkland again playing quarterback. He is a senior for Camden. I think they've gone a little deeper into the running back bag here. 2nd down and 13. Inside give. BC all over that. And you saw the hole open and you saw the hole close.
Yeah,
they gave it to Tristan Davis.
And here's your problem with that one, Kevin. You ran a counter to the left, but your offensive line went to the right. So you had a guard that left a hole wide open and was going to block to the right. And it's that kind of stuff that you have going on right now. So nice job by BC filling it, but it's just miscommunication there.
So 3rd down and 9.
See, they aired out a little bit.
Camden trying to get lined up. Now they're ready. And a snap. Kirkland going to air it out up the right side, and a little too long. I think that young man had a step. It was Sean Stevens, a wide receiver, a sophomore, had a half a step. A little better thrown ball is probably caught.
And I think it's a 3-step drop there for the quarterback, and he threw it on the 2nd step. So give yourself the time. You had plenty of time. Offensive line was doing well. Just give yourself time to get to that 3rd step because it's a timing route. Hit that back foot and then throw it. I think he rushed it a little bit there.
I think we're done with special teams tonight. They're just going to pick up the ball and run to the other end. And I'll see where, I guess you just asked Danny Britt where he wants the ball. Looks like they're going to put it on the BC 45. And now we're getting deep into that depth chart for the Cadets.
Appreciate everybody hanging out with us here for this one. Apologize again for any technical difficulties there at the beginning, but it's going to be an exciting season, Kevin. 10 football games against 10 really talented teams, and hopefully a playoff run there.
I think you don't feel like there's a week off in there. Even in high school level, you're like, hey, any team can beat you. But, in any given season, hey, there's maybe a couple of games where you feel like you should win 42-0 or something like that.
There's not one of those this year.
See one of those. Even Wayne County, who's projected last in the region and has a really tough schedule, I think it's going to be a good football team. Yeah. Here's a little end around into Camden territory. Still on his feet. 1st down at the 41. That is Yaron Mallard. He's got a number of carries tonight. And that is a BC Brothers move the chains 1st down on the run there. BC Brothers moving. And somebody got a huge jump on the
I think that's one of those false start on everybody but the center ones, because every receiver went, the line went, and the center then snapped the football.
And again, you've got young guys there on the second unit offensive line. Again, the quarterback, Omari Burse, a sophomore for the Cadets. Takes the snap. Burse going to look, wind up, and did he catch it? Yes, Mallard caught it. He's only going to get a 3-yard gain, but what a catch. He had to juggle it and haul it back in.
8-yard gain. Give him his dues.
I did.
Little out route there, and then you have the flag route on top of that. Smart decision, taking the underneath route and put you in a solid position for second down.
And Burst going to be in the grasp. And he'll lose most of it
Just
back.
A vicious hit.
That's what you got to do in the preseason.
Listen,
and I say this, Christian, as BC fans rightly know, you say, well, why not just play football? A couple years ago, Ack Edwards broke his leg in a preseason game. I think another year he tore an ACL in a preseason game that didn't count. You thankfully have not seen anybody get hurt here tonight. Here's the snap. Burst. Going to have to flush the pocket.
Block.
Boy, he had a man wide open and just too much air under it. It was Michael Hogan, a senior, and just too much under it.
And that's going to be fourth down. But, again, you're looking for the diamonds from different stuff, different plays. That one was a broken play. But if you're going to take something really solid away, number 34 there for the Cadets, playing the running back position, stepped up and had a really nice pass protection rep right there, blocking an unblocked blitzer there. So you're looking for the small things to take away good reps from everybody. That's going to be a big check mark next to his name when they do that film study.
Cadets going to punt it in quotation marks down to the 15. 8:48 to go here in this one. Again, next Saturday night, Paulson Stadium. Cadets will officially open up the 2025 campaign against Rabun Gap.
I mean, we'll be next to royalty, Kevin.
We will. One Robbie Ross.
The voice of your Georgia Southern Eagles. The voice of Paulson Stadium. I voted for him many years ago, many moons ago.
I want to say I voted for him begrudgingly. No, I'm just kidding. We love you, Robbie. That check never showed up in the mail, though. 1st and 10 for Camden. And Kirkland will throw the little quick out. And BC flows to the side. Oh, a nice hit at the 19. Pass was caught by number 85. That is Justin Sanchez, a junior wide receiver. Caden Johnson and others there on the stop. And good to see the second unit still flowing to the football. Christian still.
Yeah. A lot of zone tonight for the Cadets. And again, I don't know if that's just playing soft, but they've done a really good job of when the football does come to the zone, gang tackling.
2nd and 7, another one of those quick outs. And after a gain of about 2 or 3, they'll shove him back. Host of BC tacklers over there.
I know you hear it all the time, but it's an extended run play. It's just like a stretch zone play where you're getting the ball out to the edge quick, but BC's doing a really good job of setting up there really hard in the flats right there, not letting anybody get through for cheap yardage.
Alex Ribnick, a freshman, in there on that tackle. So you're letting some of the guys who have been in school about 4 days.
Welcome to Georgia High School football.
3rd down and about 4 for Camden. Kirkland trying to direct traffic. High snap. He'll get it down, a give up the middle, and that's going to be a first down for Camden. Great second effort. I believe that was Travis Garland, a junior running back. 7:08 to go here in the ball game. And you got the this is what you like to see. You got a linebacker wearing 68.
Heck yeah. It's that 1935 football right there.
Here's another quick out. And BC going to step up. No, he's going to shake out of the tackle and gain of about 3. Well, if nothing else, they've got the quick out game working. Christian Gokel, so trying to work some of that offense, and that's just kind of a staple of your spread.
I was going to say it's the I formation toss sweep or zone stretch. I mean, they're just going left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. This is their run game right here.
That's trying to get lined up. And here is Kirkland. He will give the counter. I believe this is Newsom. He gets stood up and going. No, going to break out of there and brought down. Who ran him down from behind trying to catch the number there? Was that number 97 for Benedictine? Jameer Lee, I believe. That's another freshman making a play for you.
Yeah, this is just so valuable. Lee, a big body dude, but like you said, been in school about a week.
So now 3rd down and about 7 for Camden County. Here's the snap. Kirkland going to look for a man and caught. Oh, what a play. I thought that ball was knocked out of there, but it was hauled back in by number 17, Sean Stevens.
Yeah, just got right to the sticks, turned around, and the football was there. And that's one of those teaching moments for the cadets linebackers and safeties is you got to be playing the sticks, and they faded back a little bit too much in their drop, and they were able to pick up the 1st down.
You got Daniel Jackson. He's the one wearing 68, Christian, in there at linebacker.
Outstanding.
So 1st and 10 for Camden, 5 minutes to go in this ball game. Here's Newsom, and he is going to get stuck. That was Jackson hitting him first.
He runs hard.
And he was brought down by Lee again. So Jameer Lee, the freshman, making another stop. Jackson came up and popped him in the hole.
I like the look of Lee. I think you give him a full season, just kind of rotating in. He's got a big body, Kevin. If you got to give one of your guys a breather, this could be a guy that you stick in there for a play or two.
Wearing that jersey like Jeremiah Thomas, slap a 55 on him. And
you ain't lying. I mean, you just look at his lower half there, Kevin. That's raw power.
So eat a few more biscuits. And
no, that's whole milk right there.
2nd down and 10 here for Camden. Kirkland, a little quick out, throws it too tall over the head of his intended receiver. It'll bring up 3rd down and 10.
A couple of big, good-looking guys coming off the field right now, Kevin. I think this BC line of scrimmage is in good hands going forward.
Number 97.
I did not look like that when I was 15.
I didn't. Still don't.
I think when I was 15, if I did a cannonball, I was one of his quads.
There you go. 4:15 to go. 3rd down and 10 for the Wildcats. Kirkland going to take the snap. Fumble the football. It's loose, and he's going to fall back on it at the 30.
Heads up play.
And it'll be 4th down and about 17.
I can't tell if that was meant to be a direct snap to the running back because he kind of took the snap and was looking to the left and never really focused on getting the football.
So are we going to punt it in quotation marks? I think we are. So everybody's going to run off the field. Clock's rolling at 3:40. We'll just pick it up. It looks like the clock's going to keep rolling until he sets it down.
How far does this punt go?
It's going to go all the way to the 40 before it's touched up by the official. And we'll have 3:26 to go here in this one. Looks like we might have a 3rd-string quarterback coming in here for BC. I want to say Manning McGinty. Yep, Manning McGinty, junior quarterback's going to come in, and he'll take the reps from here on out for BC.
Now, is this another McGinty of McGinty BC fame?
I would say so. The McGinty name's been around cadets for a while. And Manning going to get a chance to take some snaps here. Oh, and it's quick snap's going to be way back there, and Manning's going to fall on it. way back at the 15. So unfortunately for Manning, that's a rush of negative 30 yards.
Can we talk about some of these quarterback names today, though? You're playing quarterback, I believe, wearing number 16, if my eyes don't deceive me.
Yep.
Your first name is Manning?
Let's try this again on 2nd and long. Here's the give on the end around. Nice run at the 20. Gets a block, 25, and out to the 27.
And, Kevin, that game at 17 puts you in 3rd and 20.
I'm trying to see who ran that football. Was that number 20? That is Stuart Dunn.
And again, we got to ask the question. Any relation to Hunter Dunn? Kevin shaking his head at me. He doesn't know. I expected more.
I'm sorry. Oh, and another bad snap. Manning McGinty fumbles the football, but he's going to be touched dead. And it'll be 4th and 8 miles, and that is not the series you wanted to see from your 3rd unit.
Well, listen, Peyton Manning's first year in the NFL didn't go great. It happens.
BC going to punt the football. My guess is it'll get out close to the 45 of BC.
I don't know. I think he's going to take a roll.
No roll. That's the part I don't understand.
Oh, man, it's skip back.
Don't give him the roll.
No, it's skip back.
If I was Danny Britt, I'd be out there going, you're not giving me the roll? That's at least 10 more yards.
Could have sworn I saw a couple blocks in the back.
And again, 1:49 to go. We'll talk with Danny Britt coming up on the postgame show. We'll get his thoughts on this one.
Here's my question, Kevin.
The attorney Jonathan Dunn postgame show. Go ahead.
As we look at the officials, are they going to be allowed to wear the shorts all season long, or is this a scrimmage only thing?
I don't know. I know if I was an official, I would be lobbying hard for it.
Because they got those 2003 NBA shorts on. The starters down to mid-shin.
That's right. Got to be stylish when you're making that holding call. 1:49 to go. Camden with their best field position by far the second half. Here is Kirkland out of the shotgun.
They got numbers at the top.
He'll take the snap, looking all kinds of time. No, now it's going to be flushed. And BC wanted to hold. There's a receiver wide open. It's caught at the 30, 25, 20, and shoved out of bounds by number 19, Aiden Swift, a senior with the tackle after the big hookup to Sean Stevens, a 10th grade wide receiver for Camden. He and Mr. Green have had a lot of catches tonight.
And that's just bad eye discipline from some of the cadets in the secondary there. You got to stick with your zone. I know the quarterback's getting out on the scramble, but you got to trust that your guys are going to make that play. You can't let people get behind you.
So 1:25 and rolling here. Camden trying to get in the end zone.
Get on the board.
Got to imagine nothing worse than going into the first week and you haven't seen pay dirt yet. Inside give, a little cutback. Going to be inside the 10 down to the 7-yard line.
Does a nice job by the outside backer for the cadets running and setting up the edge there, but the rest of the cadets on the inside kind of got lost in the wash. And a nice job on the cutback from the back.
Camden trying to hurry up here. 55 seconds to go. Here's a delayed give right up the middle. Nicely read by the cadets that time.
And
Stayed at home.
Big number 97 back in the game, ran on there as a substitute, makes the play as soon as he gets in. I mean, this, looking for silver linings in a scrimmage, that's one of the things. You might have just found a guy who could provide some depth for your defensive line.
Jameer Lee, 9th grader. 30 seconds to go. You know Camden wants to get in the end zone.
You know BC wants to bow their backs right
Absolutely.
here.
It doesn't count, but you know both coaches I can't go back to Chris Gilman Stadium with a 0.
No, and you can't go look at the starters if you're the defense right now and you're the ones who gave up the score.
So here's Kirkland on 3rd down. Looking, he's going to be flushed.
There's number 97 again.
They're going to call him dead back at the 8.
Clock's running.
And that's going to do it. Not going to get another playoff.
Oh, timeout.
Oh, nope, they called timeout. So they're going to have one more play. One more play. They're going to put .4 on the clock. And I wonder
you have to.
I wonder if you kick a field goal just to let your kicker do something.
No, you gotta try to stick it in the end zone here.
You haven't scored, though.
I don't know. I see someone kicker size walking out into the huddle, so you may be right, Kevin.
As a head coach, I got to say, going into week 1 of the season,
Let them get a live fire.
we need a rep and we need some points on the board.
But is it worse if you miss it, though?
You have confidence in your players. You can't think about it.
I don't know. I'm too stubborn. I'm trying to put in the end zone here. Then kicking it onside.
This isn't college football 25.
If it was.
You definitely would be going for it, no question. Might as well not have a punter or kicker on your team, right?
No, quarterback's coming back out. That's what we like to see.
So one more play here in this one.
Yeah, try to stick it in the end zone. What would be great is if they ran Williams back out there.
They got Kirkland in at quarterback. 0.4 seconds. BC trying to keep him out of the end zone. And here's the snap. Throw up high and deep. They had a man breaking 3, but it was too far. And that's going to do it for the ball game. Cadets, I'm sure Danny Britt will say we scored 4 times and leave it at that. But 23-0, the official score tonight is the Cadets with a good showing, Christian. I don't know how else you can say it. A good quality showing here for their first appearance in 2025.
I think solid is a very good way of phrasing that. I think BC came out and played. If you just lay out the keys, setting the edge, making sure you're doing pass protection, not turning the football over, I think BC achieved a lot of their goals here tonight. And against a really, really talented program there in Camden County. And you learned some stuff. You got some good reps. And I think especially in that second half, you got some looks at some guys who I think could probably help this team out as the year goes. We talked about it. You have a brutal schedule to start the year, and then one of the toughest region slates in the state of Georgia. You have to have depth, and I think BC might have seen some guys with some live fire tonight that they like.
Yeah, we'll look to chat with Danny Britt here on the Attorney Jonathan Dunn post-game show. Reminder, led by Attorney Jonathan Dunn, the firm has earned a well-respected reputation as fierce litigators, committed to providing exceptional legal representation to our clients. With over 20 years of experience in the legal field, Attorney Jonathan Dunn has honed his skills and expertise to cater to a wide range of legal needs. Their team is driven by the core values of integrity, compassion, and relentless dedication to our clients' best interests. We'll come right back with the Attorney Jonathan Dunn post-game show. We'll look to chat with Danny Britt, wrap this one up as well. This is Watch BC Sports and BC Football, built by Islands Ace Hardware.
When it comes to blocking all the obstacles that life throws your way, let Vernon Williams and Auto Owners Insurance help you dodge the hits, analyze the playing field, and run the ball all the way home. We shield you so you can have peace of mind when it comes to auto, home, life, or business insurance. As one of the oldest and most respected independent insurance agencies in the Southeast, we know what it means to stand behind the people we protect head on. Trust in the power of the shield since 1934. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
You know, Christian, after a day of the hottest sports in town, sometimes you just gotta unwind.
Yeah, Kevin, and the perfect place to do it, Cool Vibes Pizza and Wings.
That's because Cool Vibes offers delicious pizza, wings, sandwiches, and salads, all with a Jamaican Caribbean island twist.
And the atmosphere is 100% kicked back. No worries, man.
Plus, they're the home of the...
Welcome back here to the Attorney Jonathan Dunn post-game show here as BC beats Camden 23-0 in a shutout performance for their scrimmage. We'll look to chat with Danny Britt, get his thoughts about this one coming up in just a little bit, but we'll go to Christian Gokel and get his thoughts coming up here on this one. And Christian, a scrimmage? Yep, it's a scrimmage, right? Don't need to read too much into it as far as that's concerned, but you shut out a top flight, top classification football team tonight, and offensively with the starters in there, you scored 3 touchdowns and got 3 points on another drive. So you look pretty good.
Yeah, and again, it came down to executing the simple things. We don't know that you can do all of the fun, exciting, explosive stuff until you know that you can walk first. And that's what BC, I think, came out tonight and did. You have 5 or 6 pass plays. You have 5 or 6 running plays. And what BC does with those is they run them out of a variety of formations, but a lot of times they're the same passing concepts and the same running concepts. You have buck sweep out of the trip set in the shotgun, and you have a buck sweep out of your flex bone formation. So you have a lot of different things you like to do, but you want to make sure you can walk before you start to run. And I think BC, you stumbled a few times tonight, but for the most part, you showed that you can walk. Now you're going to have to be able to hit the ground running to start this season. So go back to practice this week. You'll have a little bit longer week this week because you have a game on Saturday, but you got to go now. And this was a good opportunity to see where those deficiencies are.
I also think no tropical storms expected next week, so you should get a full week of school there as well. But nicely played game. Christian will do this each and every week in our post-game show. We'll name our Cool Vibes Pizza player of the game. Cool Vibes Pizza, again, with us here in 2025, and a great place to go grab a bite to eat. A lot of guys you could choose from. I know a lot of guys played. Who are we giving it to here for the scrimmage?
I mean, you want to give it to Bubba Frazier or Stephen Cannon, right? Because those guys were the ones who came out and were able to put the ball into the end zone a couple of times. I'm going to give it to Stephen Cannon. I think he was able to come out and execute. And if anything, he was too aggressive, but you would rather have that than somebody who was tedious and was afraid to throw the football. He slung it around a little bit. He took some shots. And I think just going back, if we had to name a play of the game, it was the first touchdown on the first drive of the game. Wheel route, beautifully thrown, perfectly timed, right into the breadbasket. Was able to be the difference. But we'll give it to him. But I think that second half, you had some guys who really made a push that were able to get in there with the second and third teams. I think Lee, big number 97.
Yep.
If I had to put somebody in second place, it'd probably be him. Freshman coming in, your first snaps are against Camden County, and you're able to come out and be disruptive. And you're disruptive enough that you come out of the game, they move the ball about 50 yards. Your team puts you back in the game, and you shut the door on them. So I think you have to mention him as well. But when it comes down to the difference there at the end of the day, the 2 touchdowns there, Stephen Cannon, I think, is your Cool Vibes Pizza player of the game.
Again, 2 touchdowns, and they're going to need more of that certainly moving forward. As we get back to talking about this game tonight, Christian, obviously we knew about the new faces we were going to see on offense. What about some of the guys stepping into new roles on defense? Larson Little there at middle linebacker, one of the guys who is going to be filling that Wilkes-Albert kind of role. Wyatt Easterbrook at one of those safeties. He's going to move into that starting role. We saw a number of guys on that defense. Cam Cody, you could say, okay, he played last year, but he moved in. Instead of playing defensive end, he's playing nose tackle.
Right.
That's a different technique. You're asked to do different things. He had a good night tonight. Your kind of thoughts on some of the new faces, new places that we saw with this BC defense?
Number one, I think the secondary did a really good job. There's a couple of times where they were able to bust it a little bit loose from one of those underneath passes, but for the most part, kept everything in front of them and didn't let Ellis Williams, the big-time tight end, get loose for anything. They had to fit the ball between a linebacker and a safety each time, and they weren't really able to do that. But looking at some of the guys who are playing maybe some new spots, I thought Larson Little did a good job. He's going to be the quarterback of the defense. And so that's a lot of additional pressure. Usually you just run out there and play because Bryce Baker's making the call or Wilkes-Albert's taking the call and he's getting you lined up. Now that's you, and you got to think and you got to make the plays from your position. And I just think across the board, you got talent on that front 4 right there. I think what's going to be really fun to see and what we got to see a little bit tonight, even though you didn't get to see the finished results of that because of the no contact jersey for the quarterbacks, third, getting to just stand up and go and not necessarily have to worry too much about playing that defensive end position, which he had to play a little bit. They are standing him up on the weak side and saying, destroy. And I think that's going to be really fun to watch. The Miami commit, who had offers from everyone, is going to get a chance now to just fill up the stat sheet and create havoc, and then let everybody else play that standard and make sure they're setting the edge and keeping everything in front of them. Your job is just to create havoc, and I think we got to see that a little bit tonight. If you go back and watch the tape, again, you didn't have the finish because you can't murder the quarterback in a scrimmage, but you had the violent hands. He was able to get inside of some tackles. He was able, for the most part, at will, just to get around the outside of the tackle. And then on the inside, again, you mentioned Cam Cody. I thought he did a really good job. What's going to be tough for him is being humble. And I'm not saying this as his personality. It's just the reality of playing nose tackle. You have to be humble. You're going to get maybe 15 to 20 tackles a season. And your job is to get beat up and beat other people up and get no stats. It's to eat up 2 or 3 people at a time. If he can mentally get there and be like, hey, my job is to devastate the 3 people in front of me and let the rest of my teammate to play, this defense is going to shine. And it's just you have to get there mentally because physically he has all the tools.
Yeah, you're playing a guy next week that can sling the ball around there with Raven Gap. And defensively, you're playing a spread team tonight, Christian. Coverage was really good, right?
Yeah.
Not a lot of blown assignments in the coverage, that back four. Several times, Mekhi Williams and others, we talked about them coming down and run support and making tackles. And I don't mean making tackles 8 yards deep. It was making tackles up near the line of scrimmage. That back four today really looked sharp.
Yeah, and I think it starts with Mekhi Williams and then the corners on the outside. And I think it's going to be the first couple of games that really gives us the answer in terms of what that coverage is going to look like. Tonight, it was a lot of zone coverage dropping off. You had your 4 guys in the secondary who were dropping back and keeping everything in front of them, and then your linebackers were kind of creating that second level right there of everything short and able to keep everything in front of them. They were willing to give Camden 5-6 yards at a time, and then if they work their way to the 30 and the 20, then you kind of clamp up a little bit and change it, rock a safety down into the box. But for the most part, just keeping everything in front of them. I don't know if that's just because it's a scrimmage, and maybe that gets more dynamic as we play some other teams. But if that's how they want to play it, I think they have the front 4 that can create havoc by themselves if you want to just drop 7 back into coverage and play soft, and then if they start to get into the danger zone, then you flip it.
Yeah, defensively, I thought they looked really, really good. And I think you focus so much on the Luke Croman Hawks and all the big-time playmakers they have that you forget this defense brings a lot of dudes back, and they are really, really good. I see Coach Danny Britt making his way up here, Christian, so I'll let you know as we continue. This is the attorney Jonathan Dunn postgame show led by attorney Jonathan Dunn. The firm has earned a well-respected reputation as fierce litigators committed to providing exceptional legal representation to our clients. With over 20 years of experience in the legal field, our attorney Jonathan Dunn has honed his skills and expertise to cater to a wide range of legal needs. Their team is driven by the core values of integrity, compassion, and relentless dedication to our clients' best needs. That is attorney Jonathan Dunn, and we'll be back with more of the attorney Jonathan Dunn postgame show as we chat with the head coach, Danny Britt, when we return here on BC Football, built by Islands Ace Hardware.
Bowtie Barbecue has always been a work of passion. It takes time, skill, and a blend of perfect temperature, wood, smoke, and meats. We just took it up a notch. Taste the passion. Bowtie Barbecue, 6724 Waters Avenue, Savannah.
Have I prepared enough? There'll be unexpected turns. When things get tough, I need to stick to the game plan. No regrets. I'm ready. Are you? Get ready. Contact Abel's Iron-On Moore & Associates today and see why they are different. Because nobody ever wishes they'd saved less for retirement.
When it comes to blocking all the obstacles that life throws your way, let Vernon Williams and Auto Owners Insurance help you dodge the hits, analyze the playing field, and run the ball all the way home. We shield you so you can have peace of mind when it comes to auto, home, life, or business insurance. As one of the oldest and most respected independent insurance agencies in the Southeast, we know what it means to stand behind the people we protect head on. Trust in the power of the shield since 1934. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Get up in the morning, drink my coffee, and it was 49 degrees.
Welcome back here to the attorney Jonathan Dunn postgame show as we are here with Coach Danny Britt. And Coach, I know you told Christian earlier this week, hey, scrimmages are to struggle. They're to put stuff on tape that we can fix, we can correct. If you're going to get burnt now. What did you see wrong? Because it for a scrimmage looked pretty good from what we were looking at tonight.
Yeah, I told the kids that. I thought one, we asked them, we wanted to see great physicality and great effort, great pace. And I thought we had that pretty much across the board, even when we got the threes in there. So so that's good. That's encouraging. That's a start. And you're right we'll find plenty of mistakes in the film, but it looked pretty good tonight, and it's going to have to be with our schedule. We're just going to have to keep better every day.
Talk about your quarterback, obviously stepping into that starting role. Stephen Cannon had a beautiful pass on touchdown number 1, right on the money. How do you feel he kind of showed out tonight, stepping into that starting role officially for the first time?
I thought he did a really good job. I mean, there was a few times he held the ball and turned it into a sack. Always blame the offensive line, but he held it a little bit too long. He should have just cut it loose. He made some really good throws. I mean, obviously he's very athletic, and the one deep ball where he tried to get Josh Washington, I mean, he had 20 yards if he just pulled it down and ran. So we're going to have to work on that. But I really thought Stephen did a great job, especially for his first time out against, a program like Camden.
And you told us this last year when he was waiting to play. You're like, he's got some mobility. People don't think he's a big kid with a big arm. I thought showed some elusiveness in the pocket tonight to extend some plays. I know at times it was two-hand touch on him, but right. I thought showed some elusiveness at times.
He did, and he's got that. He's really good at that. He's good at moving in the pocket, and then he's just very athletic.
Defensively, I mean, you didn't give up a point tonight. I know the thirds got in there kind of, but your first unit, man, they played really well together. We thought your back four really played well, guys coming down and making plays. We didn't talk about blown coverages a lot. I mean, you have to be impressed, I guess, with what Coach Houston has been working with over there on that side of the ball.
Yeah, definitely. I thought defense played well, played fast. Looked like there were a lot of people at the ball. They did some things. We didn't really know what they were going to do, obviously, because there was no real film. So we adjusted, I thought, really well, and especially in the secondary, and the outside backers were able to adjust and play well. And so I was excited by what we saw. Again, we'll look at the film and I'll destroy it, but that's what we're supposed to do. But I felt good about what we did, certainly. I wanted to get a few more of the crossover guys in for just a little bit more on defense, but we just didn't. And then by the time we got in the second half, there was no need in doing that.
You had some guys on defense playing familiar faces, playing new places. I guess Larson Little starting kind of the leader of that middle section. Cam Cody, you guys slid down on the defensive line. How do you feel they have handled that transition to either being a more vocal leader or being a leader or playing in a new spot?
Well, Larson it's easy for him. It's natural. He is that guy. So that's not going to be an issue. Cam, I don't exactly know. I couldn't really tell. We'll watch the film and see. I'm sure he did fine, and he can play any of those spots on the D line and be just fine.
When you have a kid that made so many plays for you at end, and you say, "Hey, I need you to slide over 3-4 feet," and Christian talked about this. He goes, "That's not just hey, slide over 3-4 feet. What you're asking him to do is probably not going to make as many tackles. We need you to eat up space, that Jeremiah Thomas role, and really be that guy." That's sometimes hard to tell a guy, hey, you're not going to make as many tackles, but you are so important.
I think it is, and he understands that, and it is hard. He's having to play a role that's harder than, won't get as many sacks or whatever, certainly. But it's so very important, and he's that type of kid. He's a leader. He's a great young man. He's going to do what we ask him to do and do it well and be happy for his teammates.
Obviously, you got to look at the film, but late you got some guys in, some freshmen. We were talking about the 97, Jameer Lee, a freshman for you, big body kid, kind of looks like probably Jeremiah Thomas looked 4 years ago, but talk about him and some of those guys that you did get a quick look at tonight.
Yeah, I thought Jameer is going to be a special talent. He's going to be another Division I dude. He huge guy, really moves well, very athletic. Still really young. Like he's a young ninth grader, so he's got a huge upside. And a funny story is his mother called me out of the blue, got my number from a youth coach, had just moved here and said we were considering his first cousin was the number one defensive back recruit that ended up at Georgia last year at Buford, from Buford. Bolden. KJ Bolden, that's his first cousin. They were considering sending him up to Buford to live with the aunt and going, and she called and said, just realize we have it right here. We have that same type of program here. And I'm like, yes, we certainly would like to have that young man. And walked him around and mom and dad around, and they were like, yeah, this is great. And he's going to be a great one. He's a nice young man too. It's weird. These big old kids, and they just come just very, very nice, and you have to kind of make them a little mean, you know. But he's going to be special. Jonathan Black out there, I don't know if y'all saw him. He's going to be a special cat too.
And we got Christian talked about him in the first half. Smart, your running back, and kind of a running back guy. You don't need him to play wide receiver. You don't need him to play. You need him to tote the football and be physical, and he did a good job of that.
He did, and we've been working on that. I think that's something he's going to have to grow into a little bit and just realize he's a one-cut-and-go guy. He's a 10-6, 100-meter guy with a 190-pound frame. And, abs that look like mine, and he's a dude. So, and it's going to be a work in progress for him because he's been an outside kind of guy, through this year. And so he's learning to hit that whole one cut and accelerate, and he can be very, very dangerous. He can be a 1,500-yard guy.
All right, Coach, the season starts for real next week, but you're going to Paulson Stadium, your old stomping grounds there in the Irk Russell Classic against a team that, again, most people down here probably never heard of, Rabun Gap, way up by the Georgia-North Carolina line, but they've got a quarterback that apparently very, very good, and you guys got your hands full right out the gate.
No doubt. They're going to be really good, very talented, as is everybody we play this year. And hopefully we have a little bit of advantage because they didn't get their kids until late. They're a boarding school, and so they didn't have them in the summer, and we put a lot of work in. So hopefully we got an advantage there. We'll get to film tonight. They're going to be really good. But, again, everybody we play, and that's exciting, honestly, because, we're going to have to just push ourselves every day.
That's one of those things, Coach, I imagine that Christian's talked to you about it, where it's tough, but it's why you play. It's like you don't have to motivate the guys, I would imagine, to get ready to play.
The motivation is who we're playing, and just have to know, and that's all we have to say. It's been an incredible all season, and we had that discussion when we first came together in February for the all season training and all, and most of the kids looked at me and said, Coach, that's why we came to BC. We want the challenge. We want to go play big time teams. We want to play in big time environments, big time stadiums, on TV, all those things. I'm like, well, let's go do it. So here we are.
Well, one final question as far as that, and we'll let you go, is I know in past you've talked about managing your roster, and I feel like this might be one of the most difficult years for you to do that because you've talked about, hey, there's the preseason, there's our region schedule, and then there's guys that week 10, 11, and into the postseason. Luke Cromenhawk last year are going to have to fill a different role than maybe we've asked them, guys playing both ways. You have to do more of that with 15. You're hopefully playing 15, but 10 just absolutely head-knocking games. Do you have to change the way you manage your roster a little bit?
I think we would, but honestly, we're pretty deep. So I don't think we're going to have to. Now, one or two injuries could change that, and then all of a sudden we're having to do some different things. But right now, for the most part, I think we can pretty much treat it, as is, as you saw out here. Bubba Frazier needs to get a little more defense, and Josh Washington really can get some defense, but the other guys are really good. So it's, it could be something we don't have to really just force. It's not going to be forced down our throat again, unless you just get injuries, and that's with everybody, So I feel pretty good about the depth that we have right now.
Well, Coach, off to a good start, a good showing in the scrimmage. I know you'll have a lot to break down and dissect. You said you'll find plenty to get onto him about before week one gets here, but we appreciate the time as always. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Coach Danny Britt joining us up here post-game atop of Memorial Stadium, and joining us for the post-game conversation is, BC all over Camden tonight. We'll step aside. We'll come back one final segment, and we'll wrap it up here from Memorial Stadium tonight. BC a 23-0 winner over Camden. We're coming right back here on Watch BC Sports. Welcome back here to the attorney Jonathan Dunn postgame show.
You can't give football coaches anything.
Christian is down a headphone. But
Coach
anyway,
Britt is already 1-0 this season.
So you heard Coach Britt talk about it and the schedule that lies ahead. It is here.
Yeah.
And
I got ear hold. What's up?
But your thoughts, obviously, he said, hey, I think we're deep enough. We may not have to treat the roster the way we've done it in the past. And I think we saw some of that tonight.
Kind of a wry smile there from Coach 2 when he talked about it. He's like, yeah, we might have to manage it if we didn't have all these daggone good players. So I think that's got to be exciting if you're a Cadets fan. And you use the basketball reference a lot, right? The bigger the games get, the shorter the bench gets, right? But for BC, these first few games, you can't think like that. You have to keep some legs fresh as you make that run into the region. So against Buford, you're not treating this like a playoff game. It's a regular season game. Same thing next week against Rayburn Gap on Saturday. You got to treat it like a regular season game. You got to rotate in the 2s and the 3s. You'd rather lose a game and get those guys some quality reps than sell out and have some of your best guys getting the ball 20, 30 times in that game and to win a game that at the end of the day does not matter at all when it comes to playoff seeding. So it's going to be a delicate balance, but I think the beginning of this schedule, when we look back in weeks 9 and 10, it looks like a huge mountain right now. I think it's going to be a really big blessing for this team because you're going to have a lot of really talented young guys who haven't had a chance to play a lot, get a lot of really big reps.
Absolutely. And again, what a showing tonight. I thought kind of came out best. I mean, this was best case scenario, right? You come out, you move the ball a little bit, you have to punt, play defense, you come right back, score a touchdown. I mean, you scored, almost 60% of the time you touched, well, not in the second half, but with the first team, you scored about 60% of the time against a team that's very good. And I think by the time they get into region play, they get more familiar with their offense, they're going to be very good. So that's a team I think you'll look back even and say, hey, the fact that we shut them out in the scrimmage, probably pretty good, showing by our defense there in that early. But offensively, again, we score 60% of the time you touch the football. That's going to win you a lot of games.
100%. And again, it's going to come back to what Stephen Kane is able to do with his feet and then the processing that he has. You weren't able to see the feet side of it tonight. I'd say probably sacked 5 or 6 times tonight. Maybe 1 or 2 of them were actually legitimate sacks. The rest were just, they touched him. Okay, you're down. A lot of those in real games are going to be him sliding, getting touched, but moving up on outside to look downfield and have some guys running wide open. So I think we'll see the offense kind of evolve from there. But I'm really excited about Stanley Smart. Because just like Danny Britt said, he's that 10-6 kind of a track guy, which if you don't know, that's fast. It's fast. So big-bodied, so people are going to kind of be shedding off of him as he's moving by at that speed. And in this BC offense where you go 4 wide and you have them spread out and you have a really good starting 5, there's going to be some big chunk plays with him. So this offense, just like the past few years for BC, is really exciting. I think the defense is going to be special. I think it's going to be a really fun season.
Well, Christian, it's officially game week. And so Rayburn Gap going to be on the schedule Saturday, Paulson Stadium, 6 o'clock. We'll be there, of course, with all the coverage for you, including the game there on Saturday evening. We're excited about it right here on Watch BC Sports. And, of course, leading up to that, make your lunch plans on Thursday to be with Christian at Bowtie Barbecue as you and Coach Britt talk about this one and certainly look ahead to the start of the 2024 season.
Yeah, every noon. At Bowtie Barbecue, you can come hang out with myself and Coach Britt, get some great food. Beautiful thing about barbecue, it's cooked, it's ready.
That's right.
Just come in, order it. It'll be right out to you. I have not had a bad meal there. I doubt I ever will. But just outstanding food there at Bowtie. We're going to talk football. You can get in on the conversation too if you're there. So just it's a great time. If you got a chance on a Thursday, come eat some lunch with us and talk football.
That's right, 12 noon, Bowtie Barbecue, and we'll see you from Paulson Stadium on Saturday. For Christian Gokel, I'm Kevin Thomas. Have a great evening. Thanks for sticking out with us here on Watch BC Sports, and we will see you next Saturday to start the season. So long, everybody.